Nice.
Hello. No bird.
Hello one.
No passer.
Let's go. We did it.
You know it's a good time when your voice gets that high. They did it, Avast. A 3-1 beating of 100 Thieves gave them the NA crown, and Shikigami the honors of playing tonight.
I mean, you know, you gotta love the moments of genuine hype, where it's like, especially for a lot of these players in Marvel Rivals, where some of them this might be their first time competing professionally. Like, we're used to a lot of previous pros or players that have competed in other titles, and they're kind of the euphoria of winning like an online tournament. They're like, another day in life. While then for people that are just kind of new to the scene, new to competing, it's like their biggest thing ever, you know, especially those who are trying to get, so it's always lovely to see kind of the ends of both that spectrum to a degree and get those hype moments. And definitely a test to the microphone to see how high they can test the peak.
Big shout out to all of our players that have been on the stream. Shikigami has had a number of rosters that we have featured. This most recent one looking extra dangerous. ZP, let's take a look at who was doing work for this crew. Was it just the Vanguards that you had your eyes on, or who had your attention last week?
I mean, look, it was a full team effort, but you can't talk about Shikigami without talking about the Vanguard play. It was really the 1-2 punch. You had Krasmang on the Groot, just being a force of nature. At times, just felt like they were playing another building game with how well they were setting up walls to stay alive. And of course, Scatter Genji on just one of the most devastating Magnetos we have ever seen. And the reality is, though, it has to be a full team effort if you're going to beat a team like 100 Thieves. And look, Shikigami, they surprised a lot of people last week, and we'll see if they can stand up to what some people are calling the Envy Super Team.
Hey, ZP, are we not allowed to say Fortnite or Minecraft?
No, we're totally allowed to say it.
All right, building game. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So that is Shikigami. On the other side of this one, you just saw Envy. It's like a bunch of bulls just running at you. You got Collusion Remix, Frontline, Cal picking you off if you let him get to a Hella. And NK, we saw some fantastic Psylocke. How do you rate his Star-Lord? What do you want to see more of in this fight if Envy is going to get crowned NA Champs of Avast?
I mean, realistically, I don't think you need to see a lot more. Maybe with the Star-Lord, you're maybe potentially trying to win a little bit more of those flank fights, especially if you're having a Luna Snow when other teams might not. But realistically, I think it was a pretty good performance across the board for both those duelists here for Envy, and I think they did their job excellently. Definitely, Cal has been a focus in terms of the duelist line for Envy at times, but NK, especially on the Psylocke, has been showing a lot of star moments.
I see a lot of chatter right now. Everyone's wondering, who else is going to get scooped up by a big brand? Envy investing in these players. On the other side, Shikigami picking up their own squad. We have Sentinels in the mix, 100 Thieves in the mix. There's been rumors of a bunch of other major orgs, T1, that could be entering the Rivals Fight Night universe here shortly. If I'm looking to build a Team ZP while we buy our NA players time to get into a lobby, where do you start? What is the core of any lineup right now in Rivals?
I think when you look at how things are going, I think you need a few things. I think your two Vanguards are immensely important, as we've seen, especially here today. But also, I think you are at a huge disadvantage if you don't have one duelist who can be a major threat on your heroes like Hela that generally seem to dominate games on their own at points, right? Like, I think those are like three parts that you almost have to start out with, because you don't want to be one of those teams where you enter something like a Hela meta and you go, well, we just have to ban Hela every time because we can't compete with that. Like, no. You want to be the team that people have to ban Hela against.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights if we're buying more time, Solomon, because we just had Kaluj walking away with MVP honors, and he did it across multiple different Vanguard heroes. He is going to be going up against Krasmang, though, who is likely to dominate on the Groot if you let it through. How big is, I guess, the comp difference right now of Avast, and how much of it is player difference in the first 2 weeks of Season 2?
It's a little early to tell. Honestly, I'm gonna say, let's do the cop-out answer. It's a little early to tell. Realistically, we're gonna have to see Shikigami get tested more because I mean, we saw the win obviously in that previous win and that highlight from the previous fight night, but we need to see more from them. We know kind of this Envy, a lot of these Envy players, whether they've been playing on Envy, whether they've been playing on Sentinels for like players like Kaluj, obviously, or they played previously in other games and titles like Nero. So I do think there's kind of a tested element there versus Shikigami, a little bit more of a, okay, do they continue to perform at this top tier 1 level? So right now I'm going to say it's inconclusive. Honestly, it's inconclusive. It's time to fence it. It's time to fence it, Puckett.
6 weeks in, you can see 100 Thieves was in 5 of those finals. Sentinels, the other champion, but that was way back in week 1. Now we are guaranteed to see a new champion. Envy, back for another finals performance. Last time they got 3-0'd by 100 Thieves, but Shikigami's in the throne seat right now. ZP, are our players ready to go? What are they doing?
Well, it's the NA part of the show. So right now, if you were to take a bet and say they were in the bathroom, you would probably be right. We talked about when Dogman was on the show, it's the NA small bladder. You hate to see it, but it is the reality. One thing I'll say is interesting, though, is you're thinking about how this match may go down. If I were game planning for Shikigami, I would wonder, are they the same team without a Groot? The problem is for Envy, they really like playing Groot in terms of what iRemix likes to play. So the idea of going against and like testing Shikigami by banning the Groot outright, I don't think is something that Envy is going to want to do. I think it's going to be nothing but Groot all series long, unless maybe Envy gets down 2 maps in the hole and they go, okay, we must take out Kresmang. But other than that, I think the Forest is going to be thriving this match.
Shout out to chat, already calling out Lawyer 448. Yes, he is the 100 Thieves super fan that currently holds a grudge against Shikigami. Is it strong enough for him to put his channel points on Envy tonight? That is the question I have for our mods. Muse22 says Daze is the player to watch in this showdown. Let's talk a little bit about the other players in the mix here. I tend to focus on like 2 or 3 big names for each team to help the audience kind of track on. Avast, dive deeper. We're going to Krakoa. It's the new map. What else can we expect here for game number 1?
I mean, honestly, I haven't seen Shikigami. So it's going to be a question for Shikigami of, have they been watching Envy play so far today? Are they willing to potentially get rid of the Emma Frost early, or maybe some of the other Vanguards? Maybe, get rid of some of the strategist potential, take them back to a triple strategist, keep them on the 2-2. And will they protect the Wolverine even? Because that's something that clearly Envy struggled with when they're trying to play some triple Vanguards, is do we protect a Wolverine? And already Envy getting rid of a Loki early. Okay, no, we were swapped. That makes, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't make sense, but now this makes sense.
That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. So yeah, for Shikigami here, it's just a question of, are they adapting to what Envy have been playing throughout the day, or do they already have something preset in mind?
I always wondered, do you want to be Team A or Team B? Do you want to be the first one to ban, or do you want to be the second ban, but also the first protect, ZP?
Again, I think it kind of comes down to team preference. I have literally heard arguments on both sides of the aisle. Obviously, if both teams like banning the same thing, you get an advantage by banning second, but you also kind of show your hand at the same time. Some teams prefer to be more reactive, and it really is a measure of what your team values in the draft. And we've seen it forever, but take a look at this. Envy going to protect on.
You didn't play this at all in the previous match. Now you're protecting it, and Shikigami is going to say Groot is in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if these are flipped one more time.
I mean, maybe. No. I mean, it's possible, but I do think it's interesting that the Human Torch protect after a Luna Snow ban, because that means that typically you'd have Luna with flyers, so it puts a lot of pressure maybe to, if a team likes to play Adam Warlock, because you want to play the Mantis comp to kind of pocket your flyers here a bit. So it's kind of an interesting ploy here for maybe, again, to just protect that Human Torch. Cap, Mr. Captain America ban, which, to be fair, there is a new team up with Winter Soldier. I mean, other than that, I think he kind of received nerfs across the board, but Catflation is always real. So it's possible that maybe there was something playing here. It could just be a throwaway.
Yeah, Cap was banned out in Europe as well. Nobody wants Captain America in the lineup for domination. He just stalls the point way too long. Shikigami's turn to protect after Emma Frost is in for Envy. Kaluj is going to be breaking some backs.
Yeah, also for Shikigami, I think they're going to ban another strategist here in all likelihood. I mean, they're kind of that was the other part of their playbook, right? Okay, they get rid of Adam. Shikigami, when they did well off of the group play from Kresmang, but they also forced unconventional strategist matchups versus 100 Thieves. Like, they were just all out on, we want to get rid of the strategist, and you give them an extra ban, and what do? They ban an extra strategist on top of it. All 3 bans targeted to the sport line.
Great call out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
where
we're
they're
going to see 4 strategists. That is the peak on the night, all removed from the lobby. If you're looking for protects, you've got some of the big damage dealers. Groot is in, Psylocke is in with her Dance of the Butterfly for Shikigami. On the other side, will Envy actually bring out a Human Torch? That's what I've been scratching my head about. Is it map specific now that we're going to Krakoa? ZP, Avast, let's get it started.
Honestly, Vast, there's part of me that doesn't even want to talk at this part here because I just really enjoy the Krakoa music. It's very vibe setting to me. I don't know.
You know what they should do at some point? We should put onto this broadcast. We should put Lipos on Steve. Have you heard that song?
I do not remember that song. You just spoke until I do not remember.
Oh, that's true. We would get copyright struck. If we
That was production. In our ear.
That was production of the year saying we can't do that. That's actually so messed up though that this world functions like that there are copyrights.
Yeah, it's a rough time. 2025. How dare intellectual property be holding back the true creativity? But we're getting into it. Shikigami heading out of the gate. Kresmang on the Groot. No surprises there, and also no torch of Ast.
Yeah, well, there you say that, but Shikigami.
Oh no, there is a torch. I'm blind.
There is a torch.
Okay.
There is in fact a torch.
But it's also Shikigami. I was looking at Envy. I was expecting Envy to play it, given the protect. They protect torch, but they don't play it.
I mean, the thing is, like, Envy gets to play kind of the comp they want. I mean, they had Emma Frost protected. They also had the Psylocke protected, so they kind of got everything they wanted out of this for the most part, minus a Loki.
Yeah, I mean, for Envy, they like the triple Vanguard. They'll run with it here again. We'll see if Shikigami's answer will be enough. I mean, certainly, Groot-wise, can't ask for a better Groot than Kresmang, and maybe that will give them the opportunity, but, you know, you gotta look to Madian and see if they're gonna be able to head to the back, get pickoffs on this Hela. It's been a quieter day for Hela's NNA here so far.
See, just a more poke coming through. Very long poke game here for Shikigami, just playing around, just using the Blazing Blast to force some of these walls. And there's the value from Human Torch. Some of those buffs coming through, just that extra damage, that damage over time. They're using the Blazing Blast, keeping everything alive. As now diving on in, finding one. As Melophobia seeing this value come out from the Human Torch.
Yeah, and right now, Shikigami starting off great here in the first point. Still yet to be capped. Envy trying to stall things out. They dropped the Strangling Prison as remix, but that fight seemed over. That seemed like a waste of the prison, if nothing else. And Shikigami cleaning up, powered by the Human Torch, where, by the way, Envy's protect.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is actually a really good pick, I think, into this triple Vanguard composition because, A, there's not a lot that can already. I mean, Envy just making a swap already with Cal moving back to the Hela. So exactly what you needed because Human Torch does a lot of damage over time from the Blazing Blast. They have the Meteor Impacts where it gives him the bonus health now. He does a lot of burst damage if he hits one of his secondary fires. He does more damage in general with his primary. He has tornadoes to rip through people. Like, it's a very good pick into a triple Vanguard composition is Cal just making a swap into Hela immediately.
See if Cal is able to clip Torch out of the sky. Melophobia right now, raining down fire tornadoes and lighting them up. Easy win here for Shikigami, and I mean, Envy just walked into the blaze and did not walk out.
And I'm loving this Human Torch comp, and maybe Envy perhaps using the Human Torch as more of a bargaining chip to be like, oh, like we're trying to force you off some meta pick. Like maybe they're in a similar situation as Shroud X, where they're like not as comfortable on some of these new meta picks outside of like the Emma Frost. Because right now, Melophobia getting a lot of value of the Human Torch, which has just been creeped in power over and over and over again until eventually with these newest buffs, looks very strong, especially with the team up with Invisible Woman.
You just imagine the devs look there, it's like, well, they'll play him at some point. They can't let it, like, hold out.
Oh no, Kaluj pushed up the map!
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was a push. Kaluj is gone, and, well, that just ruins the entire attempt here by Envy. You just see the quick retreat. Shikigami nearly overchases Madian. Lucky to get away. A little bit of portal tech coming in here from Envy.
All that time
they got one fight left.
Just pushed over like a small fry, you know? Just the meat doesn't help him there. And the portals, like you said, very fun part of Krakoa is there's going to be just a silent seduction trying to find Melophobia, but he's like, nah, I'm just going to LOS. Nah, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah, Melophobia's is like, no, like, be gone. Your charms have no effect on me. Just leaves. Emma Frost not used to that level of rejection. Meanwhile, speaking of rejection, Skyrim Genji dropping the meteor M. Does not connect. Shikigami still control the point. Takes down Remix. And Shikigami up one here so far. Vanguard's doing well. Melophobia to the back. Finds Darrow. The torch continuing to be on fire as Kaluj is eventually swarmed onto the point. Shikigami, a flawless first round here on Krakoa.
I mean, this is just like You ever seen the Willem Dafoe picture where he's like looking up into the sky and he's like, oh, like that's essentially what's happening to Envy right now, because you're using this Human Torch to just LOS around this huge skybox to move around, play the pillars, play around the point. You're getting all this constant damage, the constant DOT as well from the Blazing Blast. And it's just Envy didn't have a lot of great answers, especially when you have the Emma Frost. Like, okay, you can contest the point, you can put your shield out to sort of contest some of that LOS, but you can't do anything because Emma Frost has a very low range, not a very high range for engage at all, so you're really reliant on Cal to just try to make something happen, which nothing was happening, because it's not like your Psylocke's going to be dueling the Human Torch typically, because they're not going to be dumb enough to just play on the ground, especially at the top level.
Well, Envy kind of looks at it and says, flame on. Cal, swapping
Let's
over
go!
to the torch.
2 Human Torches! It's finally time!
Hey, we had a little bit of that earlier.
Yeah,
you
but
go
not
back
NA.
to the LG game versus VP. But in NA, you're right. It is the first time to fight fire with fire, which may be the proper response, given what Melphobia was able to do back in round 1. But the change-ups have come in, and by the way, Emma Frost is gone. Kalush, onto the Magneto.
Yeah, they've taken him off. Neither Doctor Strange nor Magneto, though his Magneto has been pretty good as well. And remember, because of that win earlier in the domination, I mean, Shikigami holding on to an ult bank advantage already.
Really like the control from Melphobia here so far. And, okay, Shikigami gonna open up here. You got the cloak ult being used. Envy with the invisible boundary. Remix, though, striking first. Root versus Groot. Again, Envy up on top, 6 on 5. Melphobia using the Force Armor. Has the Torch ult ready to go. Madian, though, able to get NK early in the fight. An equalizing shot for Shikigami. The dive now in from Melphobia. So well timed. This may be the best Torch play we've seen all day.
And it's so important to watch his right clicks. When his right clicks go out, when he hits the land, it's doing extra bonus damage when he hits those right clicks as well. So it's so important to time those combos, hit them, you get the bonus health too for the Meteor Impact. So now, Shikigami still controlling the point, or rather the Flaming Meteor, not the Meteor Impact, but... And Envy, they need an answer. I mean, they're going to have 5 ults on the board here. Shikigami, not really too rich in the ult department, but they do have the strategist ult available. They're going to have some opportunity to delay a bit.
Shikigami could lose this fight to pure capitalism. It wouldn't necessarily be the best for Envy to spend everything, but they do need to get control. So we'll see just exactly what gets invested here. Looking at NK first, where you talk about ways of ripping a Human Torch out of the sky. Well, Galactic Legend is in fact one of those ways. But Envy taking it real slow here so far. Cal gonna drop the Torch ult. A little bit of fire here in the back. Meteor M, though, gonna be used in response from Shikigami from down. Finds Month. And just like that, the fight's over.
And Scatter Genji has been a master of hitting the absolute fade away in the corner Meteor M's. I feel for Shikigami from every time we've seen him. And Kluge's gonna get too late, but doesn't really matter because plenty of times for the respawns to come on up. It's Cal swapping to the Doctor Strange for the contest. There are gonna be 3 ults on the board here for Envy. They're gonna have some options, but Shikigami playing the poke with this Human Torch comp so well, playing really split, making sure to keep this Blazing Blast connected on the point to get that damage.
They walked into the fire. We'll see if it works out, but it's enough. They just immediately mug Shikigami where he stands. You have the ult coming out from Melphobia, but Kalush says goodbye. Meteor M, easy cleanup right after, and the Galactic Legend. Kind of expensive though, Avast.
I mean, it's the golden rules, EP. He who has the gold makes the rules, and in this case, the gold is the ults. And I think Envy, they made the rules like we're gonna cap the point, but in return, it was super expensive. They had to use a lot of the gold to do so. Shikigami about to have 3 ults on board here, and he looked at Envy as like, okay, we know we're gonna have that invisible boundary. We're gonna have the boundary up. We can mitigate some of the value from this, but we're not gonna be able to mitigate everything. So Krasmang's engage here in terms of how does he set up this very early strangling prison. Also, I mean, the poke from Melphobia putting so much pressure.
It's ridiculous.
A lot of
the life bars
cooldowns.
are melting. Krasmang just had the breathe on Nero. Nero was gone. The boundary from Month was a little bit late. Not enough to save Nero. Keep Envy at a full 6. This is an absolute disaster of an opening start here for Envy. And now Shikigami gonna drop the Eternal Bond. Melphobia sends his blood in the water, dives on in with Krasmang. They get down Remix. And this may just be Shikigami's map done really in overwhelming power via the Torch.
I mean, Cal gonna have the Eye of Agamotto. They're close to the Eternal Bond for Nero. Remix swapping to the Venom for the contest. So they're gonna have some options to touch, but they have to walk into the Goddess of Death. They're gonna have to walk into a Meteor Rim with no strategy ults. No strategy ults. And this is a very scary contest here because your backline's gonna be really vulnerable. Sure, Eremix, NK gonna be able to dance around a bit, but I mean, they have to touch them
Oh,
first. I mean,
they have to walk into the blunder
They do.
here.
They got it. They got the touch.
Shikigami's been all tracking. You're just going to let loose here. Cow dropping the Eye of Agamotto onto Dinks, gets one stun. Meanwhile, Madian into the sky, dropping the Hella bolts, looking to the back, forcing Invisible Woman to just run. Still, though, Envy not giving up any picks here just yet, despite the double duelist ults in play. Melophobia, though, lighting things on fire. You start seeing Remix's health dropping super low. Has to pop the Venom Shield. In response, Kaluj, though, takes down Genji, and Shikigami kind of fumbles a bit here. Envy able to withstand.
Incredibly good contester for MB. I mean, they have the bubble there. Kaluj gets the perfect bubble into NK to get the touch. Iron Mix then comes back in. Everyone stays alive. The Eternal Bond, they just play. They stagger around that because there isn't really quite enough burst damage, especially with the Goddess of Death, who's not going to typically burn through a strategist ult. As now Envy, they're in control. They can drop a Feast of the Abyss here. They can just pressure the backline really aggressively. They do have the Galactic Legend as well. And a lot of the pressure here on Ricky to make sure this boundary's good, to make sure those Guardian Shields and the Force Physics don't immediately lose someone.
That was one thing Ricky really had in their corner in the last week, was that Ricky really pushed the limits on how late to get boundary and still get really good value. But Remix dives on in, goes for the feast, gets pushed in the middle of it. Envy, though, Remix needs to get out, nearly gets bursted down. The boundary, though, is used here by Shikigami, used in turn by Envy. Both teams invisible. The Melophobia hunts down Remix. Remix actually wasn't able to get away. Shikigami now, working on the 65. Krasmang dropping the prison. Is the fall through going to be there? What's Melo looking at right now? Right now, just waiting for the Magneto Meteor M to go. Shikigami, though, still in a good spot. Dropping the Eternal Bond. Torch up in the sky, looking for who to burn. A Madian gang, NK. And it's Shikigami now, a little bit more needed. We are in overtime, 99-99, but all the eliminations going their way. Just need a little bit more. Remix back in the fight, Remix out of the fight, and that could be it.
I mean, look at the man advantage. They're about to have another Supernova. They're about to have a Meteor M. Sure, I have Agamotto invested, but I think this is going to be a slow loss for Envy, barring a miracle, like an absolute miracle.
Shikigami proving, by the way, that them being good, not a fluke. A lot of people did wonder if this team was a little bit too one-dimensional, wondering, whether or not it was just 100 Thieves having a bad week. Well, this is the Envy Super Team, as it's been called, and Shikigami still comes out strong here on Krakoa.
The Shika Army. Gotta be feeling good. I mean, and Melophobia getting the in-game MVP, which definitely deserved in this case. The amount of value from that Human Torch play was really, really good. And I think for Shikigami, what I'm impressed by is that when their first debut, when they won Rivals Fight Night, when they first showed up, they were playing some unconventional compositions, right? Especially on the strategist side. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say this comp is unconventional, but some of the other NA teams just haven't feeling comfortable, so they've clearly adapted pretty quickly to this new meta. So you're seeing, if you're someone that believes in this team, you're seeing a lot of great trajectory in terms of the long term, because they're clearly very flexible and very adaptable and willing to try a lot of new things.
19,000 damage from your Human Torch. Next highest in the lobby is around 12k. Ridiculous performance from Melophobia to open things up. Shikigami in the driver's seat after a 2-0 Krakoa. We're going to MV's pick here. You just got beaten Domination. ZP, you're going to load up Midtown and full hold them, right?
I think they would try and go to Midtown, especially if they could do triple Vanguard. They don't have to worry about a Wolverine. However, I'm just going to bring a quick flashback to map 1. Envy was the ones who protected Human Torch. Surely that doesn't happen again, given what Melophobia just did. There will be a shift in draft strategy for Envy, or, look, I'm not going to be able to explain it. It would make no sense.
Yeah, as Marley says in the chat, at least they banned Captain America. That's the first of the day. Let's get another one. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from game number 1. Awesome stuff on both sides of the ball. Melophobia, my player to watch, but Amadian was the one who graced our screen on the Hella most of last broadcast. ZP, is it a duelist fight between these two teams? Because we saw the triple Vanguard with Kaluj eventually having to pull out a Punisher at the end.
Look, I think it's an everything fight from what we've been seeing. I think Ricky has some of the best self-control in terms of alt economy you will see out of a strategist. Just waiting to the last second to drop invisible boundaries where other people drop it a little bit earlier. Those seconds do matter. Krasmang, still a force on the Groot. Took it to Remix and then some. Scatter Genji as a Vanguard, also huge. But yes, as you open the question up, Amadian and Melophobia both looked amazing. I don't think there's a part of Shikigami that looked bad.
On the other side, they tried to run this Psylocke. Will that work for Envy moving forward, Avast?
Not if they're going to keep playing Human Torch. If they're playing Human Torch, it's unfortunately, you don't have a lot of great options. The only way it works is if you're burning the rest of the team for Shikigami before Melophobia is getting a ton of value. Because sure, you can contest a Madian, especially with the changes to Astral Flock, some of those nerfs. But realistically, if you're going to play it, you need to get more value earlier, or Melophobia is just going to do too much damage.
Very nice dunk by Kaluj gave Envy their first point control, but in overtime, well, we're getting used to this one. Shikigami taking over the Hela right next to the Vanguards, running side by side as she hits headshots. Look at the invisibility to keep her up.
Really zoomed in on Cal dropping the one man.
Yeah, you look at that, and by the way, for those at home wondering, is like, Strange does an ultimate. How effective was it really? You just look at the UI. You can tell instantly how many were stunned. It is your own personal cheat sheet.
You're telling me, as a fan, I can look in the top left and follow what's happening?
That's right. You got
all the power.
And the top right. That's right.
And see what heroes they banned previously, because we have the best production in Rivals?
Also that too.
It's all happening, Avast. It is Shikigami. It is Envy. It is game number 2. Tasmo's boys have decided to square up on Midtown. And if you're just joining us, this was the most impressive single game victory I have witnessed. It is Envy in the opening round. Midtown was their map pick, and they didn't let their opponents out of the base. After losing map 1, they totally shut down Shroud X. Avast, does it work on Shikigami, though?
If Shikigami watched the match before, which... please for our viewer numbers. I hope they were. I hope they were. But either way, I do think that if they watched, it won't work. Because you should be able to, even with the protects for Envy, right? Where, okay, maybe they protect Emma Frost. Maybe they protect Groot. Okay, you get rid of Magneto. You get rid of Loki. You protect Wolverine. Like, you have a lot of options here to give you alternatives. And also, maybe try exiting from a different spawn door too. But that's still a little bit hard if those comps are still allowed through.
It's going to be fun. I believe it. Tasmo's been cooking up more than just a triple Vanguard performance, but when he does, it looks fierce. Shikigami going to try and break through. The first bans and protects, and Envy gets the honors. They choose the map. It'll be Shikigami with a second ban, but then also the first protect.
Okay.
And this is actually great. That's great.
Lesson.
They've learned their lesson, but also that's one less ban that Envy gets because now they're afraid of the Human Torch.
Yes. Also, I love the hilarity where Envy also loses the first map to Shroud X because they get crunched by Wolverine, and their instant response is like, we are banning Wolverine. So, like, Envy, they show their emotions through their bans, and I love it.
It works, right? Hey, it's pretty clear who caused us problems in the previous game. Let's just do the simple stuff. Make sure that doesn't happen. Shikigami saying, guess what? We got Crazemang. He may be the best tank. He may be the best Groot in North America. Putting his name out there. On the other side, Envy, who's going to square up? Remix again, and they are going to bring out a raccoon. What does this tell you?
I mean, it could be anything still, because realistically with Loki being banned, which is a great ban for Shikigami because you don't have that regeneration domain, you don't have that really fast build for the God of Mischief, you don't really have a lot of, like, sure, unless you want to maybe potentially use, like, Cloak and Dagger, you don't have a huge burst heal outside of Rocket. Rocket is the next, like, burst heal strategist that you have available to you. And Jeff being banned is also interesting, because I wonder, I mean, like, the Human Torch made sense. Shikigami's bans made sense. The Jeff heroes, like, were they suspecting a potential, Jeff DPS play? Or
I think this is just, we don't want to show anything, right?
Yeah,
we're not afraid of what you can bring out. We know what you run. We've watched your VODs. Emma Frost getting protected by Shikigami is good news for Kaluj. You don't have to use it. Now you get Magneto, and you got the comp you wanted, right?
In what world did Shikigami think that Emma Frost was going to get banned by Envy? What is the point of this protect? We literally just saw their Midtown, where their entire Midtown strategy relied on Emma Frost being the heart of it, with Kaluj being front and center. Envy is brought us to Midtown, which is the same way the last series went. They were not going to ban Emma Frost. That is a little ridiculous to me, but hey, you know, Shikigami, maybe they just feel like they really need to be 100 out of 100% sure that they get to play it.
Okay, there's going to be no Hulk. That is going to hopefully minimize the Namor damage if it comes out from Shikigami. And they say no Invisible Woman, no Luna Snow, no Loki. A triple strategist ban from Shikigami. On the other side, they're targeting the Hulk, the Johnny, and the Jeff. I'm so confused.
I mean, across the board, this makes sense, though, for Shikigami in particular, because look how many strategists they removed. There's 3 strategists off the board here, including Loki, most importantly, but also Invisible Woman. So this gives a lot of sustain gone now. They're still going to have Rocket, who's been buffed, but even with this James his ult, he's not like a absolutely insanely good pick here for a triple Vanguard composition, even though it's a lot better. And then you're probably going to have to run like a Cloak and Dagger. So I do think for Shikigami, they've still done a pretty decent job of, okay, we've removed some of those key strategists here for Envy.
I think it's all about the lore. They've heard about Kalush's Jeff. Making sure Shikigami doesn't have one of their own. Here we go, 17 seconds until map number 2 begins. If you are just joining us, do us a favor. Hit that follow button if you're watching on Twitter, Kick, or on YouTube. Hit the sub button. We love you, and we love your casters. It's Avast and ZP.
All right, so this is going to be interesting. We'll see how much homework Shikigami did. It is going to be Envy, though, on the attack first. And they're not actually coming out here with Emma Frost. They're going with more of a balanced approach. In fact, it's Envy on the Wolverine.
I mean, to be fair, this is their offense, right, versus the defense. So typically the defense, we're going to try that triple Vanguard just like break out as, no, I mean, the aggression here with the bubbles, with the bulwarks, just making a lot of presence already for Envy.
Well, Krasmang back up via the BRB. Amadian, though, going on down. Squirrel Girl hasn't had the highest success rate here at Rivals Fight Night. We'll see if this is a change at all as NK a little bit pummeled on this Wolverine here so far, but gets a little bit of a grab. Envy just trying to get out of this also very aggressive Shikigami hold.
I mean, Shikigami, I mean, with the Emma Frost available, so Wolverine, you can use the Diamond form. You do have some options to mitigate with the Bulwarks here, as well as Amadian. Armadian can swap to Moon Knight, which with the buffs, I mean, the bonus health that you get is, oh my goodness, Cal gonna get the execute. I think this is a really good comp from Envy to make sure to get the Punisher, to get this flip here, to make sure to just go for the flank, but also for Shikigami to get a decent amount of time off the bank. And the Moon Knight could still generate a ton of value here.
Yeah, I mean, Moon Knight, you know, Puck was wondering, like, where's the Moon Knight? Where's the value? And overall, not something that players have super valued in competitive play in recent times, but we'll see if Shikigami is able to make it work for now. You got this portal here from Scatter Genji. Send things up. Shikigami rolling on in from the backhand side. They nearly pick off Nero immediately. However, Remix putting into it, drops Strangling Prison. NK following through right after. And, well, back to spawn.
Very fast fight win, but I mean, that's 3 ults. 3 ults off the board there, so Shikigami get to walk back in. They're going to have the Hand of Khonshu if they choose to stay on the Moon Knight. They're going to have their strategist ults. They're going to have a Strangling Prison of their own. I think all of this is still pretty good for Shikigami the upcoming fight, because really a lot of pressure is going to be on, okay, do we have a strategist ult up to prevent this execution that comes out for Cal?
Oh.
Do we make sure no one goes down to the meteor for Kaluj?
Bucket likes naming things. I'll say this here. If this combo works, it's Khonshu's Prison coming right up from Krasmang and Amadian. However, Cal with the final judgment here. Envy trying to open things up. Remix, meanwhile, in the front line. Krasmang hasn't dropped the Prison here just yet. Might die before they get the chance instead. Gets healed back up. Prison is dropped. But guess what? Khonshu isn't there. Khonshu did not answer the call because Amadian was down. However, the rest of it still works out. On the defense, Shikigami still able to find some picks.
Uh-oh, wait, not a lot of value from the Strangling Prison either, so as the fight breaks down, still the health pretty good.
Ooh.
Not gonna hit the meter in, but I still think it's not terrible here for Shikigami. The fight's broken down pretty effectively, and they should be able to hit Kaluj. That's exactly what we're gonna do. And despite some unfortunate situations, they hold on to the Hand of Khonshu, and they make sure to get tons and tons of value from that Strangling Prison from Krasmang, who once again just splits the heals off of the walls.
Kind of a huge stagger there at the end too. So the fight didn't quite break down the way we thought based on the ults at the opening, but you know, Shikigami still making it work. Envy now, only a minute left. A lot of times burned off the clock. And I mean, this fight, Envy either wins or could get first point held. We'll see how it pans out.
Because now
we have a sub coming in. It's Deep Impact. Back to you.
I didn't know if it had been called. I didn't know if it had been called out yet. I couldn't tell if it was delayed, so I didn't say anything.
We have a person back to spawn. It's NK. Scatter Genji takes down the Wolverine immediately.
I mean, Envy, they have to back. They have to back unless they're going to pick right now. They're going to have to back. And the thing is, here's what's so brutal currently is because you just saw right there, Amadian gets pressured by Cal, but because of that bonus health change from Moon Knight, not get found.
Kalush kind of all in on this, and it's all nothing. Doesn't get what he's looking for. Krasmang, though, does get caught by Cal early on. Dance of the Butterfly. Dancing of Doom takes down another. So Cal making things happen here in the backline. Envy with the advantage. Madian down, and that will be first going the way of Envy.
I mean, a good cap here, but definitely a lot of time. It took a lot of time for both, I mean, in particular this point. So Shikigami doing a good job. They still haven't even used the hand of Khonshu. They're still, that ult has not been popped yet.
Khonshu doesn't have hands, is what we found out here.
What do you mean is he has more hands than ever before with the buff, so he has even an incredible amount of hands, in fact. They just haven't been
he doesn't want to throw them. They have not been thrown this entire time.
The hands have not been thrown.
I think they have been looking for, again, we're going to call it the Khonshu prison coming up here. Krasmang.
It will burn through just every strategy ult. So if they do drop that prison with the hand of Khonshu, you're definitely right. That combo will burn through pretty much every strategy ult. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay, prison is out. Is Khonshu going to answer the call? Oh, yeah, the portal's going to get opened up, but the rocket CYA comes in, and Envy, everyone escapes jail time. Kaluj goes in, takes down Meliphobia. The jailbreak in progress. Envy not phased at all by that ult combo. Shikigami trying to hang on here with the Eternal Bond, but NK moving on in. Good to cleave, but Krasmang and Dink still get two. Shikigami, are they somehow going to hold on here, even with the combo failure? Might be the case.
I mean, I love what the backline are doing for Shikigami here. They make sure to just immediately move to the back, the Eternal Bond, putting that pressure. They're using this Cape of Terror to put vulnerabilities the entire time. And then just scatter Genji, who has done so well in Magneto in the past, continuing to save bubbles. Just keeping the bulwarks up, alive, mitigating the value for NK. So despite the failure of that combo, they just still have so much damage, and they have so much pressure into the backline still after the ults get used, that Envy are struggling here. Because with the Wolverine, sure, you're great at shredding tanks and the Vanguards, but you're not really that good at dealing with this, just how effective, how mobile Shikigami are playing.
Ooh, Meliphobia again caught there. Can't go for the abduct instead. Still under pressure, still getting thrown back. Kaluj has had enough, drops Meteor M, and no, does not connect. Now, back on the other side, NK looking for a little bit of tank damage right now. Chops that tree right down. The aid of Rocket, but here comes Khonshu. Amadian dropping the hand of Khonshu, picks up two. Cal, though, back the other way. Takes down one of his own, the BRB, bringing Envy right back in the fight. Battle of power here. Much more in Envy's favor here so far. And the balance continuing to tip over in the Envy camp as they just have a little bit to go to the end of point two.
Goodbye, Wolverine. Enjoy your permaban.
I mean, however, for Shikigami, they're going to have another contest. They're going to have the last stand, their other final stand. They're also going to have a rocket ult, and they have a meteor rim to potentially burn through the strategy ult as the portal used for a Madian just for them to touch.
Oh, they're back on in. Shikigami draining the bank. Meteor MN from Scatter Genji. Can he do it one more time? Looking for it? No, not going to find it here just yet. Cal, meanwhile, shooting away here. Mostly onto the CYA. Finally breaks it on down. Both teams still at a full 6-on-6. However, Shikigami, again, crunched. NK with the stand. Ends up picking up 3. Crushes Genji there on the other side, still looking for a little bit more slicing and dicing. Is Envy via the power of this Wolverine. And now, point 2 should be theirs.
I mean, the value NK is getting from the Wolverine. Maybe Puckett is right. I was about to say, like, well, seems to be a good fight. But nope. NK using the last stand to get everyone out of the aura from the Eternal Bond. Finding 2. Just denying the value there for Shikigami. And still, it's not been fast caps here, right? But Midtown, typically not a map that's very easy to cap across the board. So it's pretty par for the courses. Envy holding on to more ults, about to have the combo themselves. They're about to have a Strangling Prison, a Meteor M. Shikigami, they need to find an answer.
I think part of the answer here, you want an economical fight. Krasmang, historically last week and in parts of today, been really good at landing early prisons to get things set up. At this point, Amadian swapping off, not going to be held hostage by waiting for Khonshu. See if Krasmang can find the opportunity. Right now, though, Envy moving on forward in the neutral, finds Ricky early on, just pure cleaving. And of course, the Strangling Prison remix, really the star that made that happen. Nothing so neutral about that.
And yeah, they didn't even commit the Meteor Rim. They just made sure to go forward knowing that there's not a strategist ult up for Shikigami just yet. Now, though, Shikigami getting close on some ults. Envy setting up NK. Gonna be someone to watch here, trying to find the leap, trying to find one. As Strangling Prison committed onto the flank, just one, just getting Cal. Which, I mean, I don't think that's that great a value because they have the BYB, yeah. Or the BRB, I should say.
Meanwhile, Meliphobia, though, the dance, kind of big into that. Gets 2 strategists for 1 ult, however. The counterfire in here from Cal, not quite over yet, but Envy is looking awfully weak with the healing just thrown into the dirt. Remix right now. We'll see how long Remix can live, and the answer is not long. Taking on down. And Shikigami here in overtime might be stopping Envy here right before the apex. Overtime ticks down, and the stall, it is over. A hold before third.
And yeah, I think the Strangling Prison may, while it didn't necessarily get immense value in terms of mitigating ult value. It did remove Cal from the flank. It did burn the BRB before the fight started. And I think when you have a pretty strong ult bank like Shikigami there, that's still a decent amount of value. So Krasming, I think, potentially seeing like, okay, we want to get a spawn. We want to just deny any potential Cal value there and remove the BRB. I think that's still a pretty good play in hindsight. Looking at some of the stats, I mean, Krasming still putting out some group performances that to be expected. Just a player that is getting tons of value at the walls, blocking damage, do a lot of damage himself. But pretty even across the board.
I still think as I look at this, and even though it is something Envy likes to play, and look, I'm kind of going back to what I said where I thought, okay, maybe you ban the Groot away from Remix. I think Shikigami, I mean, the level of player that Krasmang has on the Groot, should you lose this map, should you go down 2-0 as Envy, just mess around a little bit here. Ban the Groot and see what Shikigami looks like in Grootless gameplay. Because even go back to the match against Under Thieves, so much of it, like the starting course, was Krasmang on the Groot. I just wonder if Shikigami is in the same team if you force him on something different.
With 10 seconds to go, I'd like to remind the chat you could follow the channel and help us reach our follower goal of 7,000 over on twitch.tv/rivalsfightnight. If you're here, you're a dirty lurker. Stay lurking. I don't judge. Just hit the follow button on your way out.
Chat, I gotta tell you, he does judge and he does know. Puckett knows everything.
He's kind of like evil Santa.
Yeah, if you take the risk, it's
They gave me a sword, dude. I can see everything.
He knows. He simply knows. But Shikigami right now already has gotten more progress than Shroud X got on this map here so far. So, 9 meters, 3 times Shroud X progress, and way more in terms of the eliminations. 2 going down. Krasmang finding it early. And here, though, BRB gets Remix back in the fight. Envy firmly on the back foot as they just keep it going.
And I think this is definitely a learning. They learned a bit for what happened in the previous matchup for Shroud X because, I mean, you have a Wolverine. Great. So triple Vanguard already kind of weak. Additionally, they roll out on the Storm immediately to get value from the aura to get all that extra damage boost, to get the AoE effects as well when you pop in the burst. And then on top of that, they had Emma Frost their own, like right off the board. So I really like that for everything Shikigami did just to burst out of spawn. As here comes the contest. Portal in.
They're going on end month, though, nearly going right down. The pressure onto the support's just absolutely ridiculous. Melophobia, right place, right time. Definitely can swing the Wolverine. Omega Hurricane coming on in just for egregious cleanup over the top. And, that portal's going to fade away.
Now the question is, does Shikigami continue to play? I mean, they're kind of stuck on the Storm, right? Like, the spawn hold is kind of done. However, it still is a triple Vanguard setup for Envy. So maybe you stay with it. You just get that extra damage. You get that extra aura value. Definitely, though, wishing they probably would have had a Magneto potentially for Melophobia. But, goodbye,
okay.
Meteor M.
I think Envy was wishing they had a Magneto brought back into the fray. Krasmang, though, still has Strangling Prison, good to go. NK into the back, Dance the Butterfly does cut down Ricky. So Envy still winnable here. Ooh, nice shots around the pillar from NK. Keeping Envy's defense alive here as Shikigami right now just getting a little bit bisected.
And I really like the swap on a Doctor Strange too because Kaluj does so much damage on this pick even with the nerfs. The Eye of Agamotto, especially when you're playing like kind of a clumped style, you don't have a Magneto, so you don't have to worry about bulwarks. Just mitigating your Eye of Agamotto value here. You're getting a ton of bursts in these close range streets. You got your shield mitigating a lot of the damage, especially if you're playing to like a Moon Knight or something like that. So I do like the Doctor Strange swap here again instead of using the Emma Frost. For Shikigami, the question becomes, okay, can we set up a Strangling Prison? Can we set up this Ionic Seduction here, knowing there's no strategy souls just yet?
For the Europeans in the chat, we are at 63, Danny DeVito. Go ahead.
Kalush went into back. He went to back, got one, but the fall through from Shikigami, far more. Khonshu's wrath just being felt across the board. Clearly, in terms of deities, like, I don't know, Khonshu over Agamotto, Vast. That's where I'm ranking it right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the religious battle, and that's, our Puckett advertising bot, or AI, just kind of malfunctioned there a bit. Typically, we have a much better cooldown on the Puckett AI, so we'll work on that one. We're getting the code monkeys working on that. So now, Envy still looking to defend. Shikigami continuing their progress forward. Likely just going to be looking to drop that CYA, just get some of the damage boost, get some of the bonus health here, but Scatter gets you going down.
Yeah, get Scatter down early. Remix. I think Remix still may drop the prison here, but okay, Dance the Butterfly into the bag. Envy spending some cash here, and it's a little bit early into the point to be doing this, but I think for Envy, you just want to get some sense of tempo back.
And also, this is a really strong choke to hold. So I think
Yeah.
it's worth it to commit to fight this choke here, because especially with the group, you just can fight it so effectively playing around these full dash walls. So Shikigami looking for the opening. They still hold on the Psionic Seduction, but the problem here now is that Nero has an ult. I mean, Month has an ult, so they have a lot of different options to potentially mitigate. Especially with Kluge going Magneto, so now they're going to have Bulwarks. They're going to have some of these bubbles.
Here we go. Groot in. Remix for the Strangling Prison and gets immediately denied. Melphobia punishes him for the attempt. Remix might be back in the fight, but the prison is out. And Shikigami looking for the way in. You have the Eternal Bond being used and used on both sides as Shikigami just gets far more from this exchange. Yeah, Cal may be in the sky, but nothing falling as a result. The ult exchange way better for Shikigami here so far.
And I really, really liked how Shikigami played that too, because as soon as they made sure to not just immediately pop the Cloak and Dagger there for Dinks, they pop Ricky's ult, they have that rocket ult go on up the CYA, and they just use that burst, just get to amp the healing there, that little bubble that comes on up for Dinks. So now, Shikigami moving forward. Kluge gonna hold on to the Meteor Im, but the problem here is, like, I don't love a Meteor Im's chances into the Strangling Prison with no strategist ult. It's not necessarily the greatest trade-off, but it's possible because how close up everything is that maybe they could get a pick.
Krasmang drops the wall. Send the stone here for the prison. His fault they're going to be there, and it absolutely is. Two immediately following. Krasmang does it again. Great setup, great wall from the fall through. Amadian with a little bit of cleanup right after. And second point, going to go directly the way of Shikigami.
And that's exactly what you want to see. Strangling Prison, Cape of Terror, get the vulnerability. Shikigami move on forward, and these are pretty fast cap times comparatively to how Envy was moving here on their offense. This is definitely a little bit more of a pace, but still, last point is the final decider, and not necessarily the easiest to cap by any means. Still holding on to the Goddess of Death as I Sonic Seduction again for Scatter Genji. For Envy, this is just their time to make something happen. They want to know how to pick, and that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, you get that early on. And here's the important part here. You're pushing back Shikigami. You're giving Remix time to set up a really good prison. The Median, though, here on the flank, they can do a little bit of pest control on the rocket. No, instead going in for Kluge. Meanwhile, Remix under the gun, goes down, doesn't have a chance to drop the prison. Got CC'd and crushed. Amadian, meanwhile, taking down Cal. Now going up to the outside, using the Goddess of Death, dropping in the damage from above, and Shikigami Avest one fight away from going up 2-0.
Had to invest a couple ults there, but I mean, that's fine. Got something out of Envy. Now if you're Envy, you look at this fight, you're like, okay, we know we didn't remove strategist ults. The Strangling Prison isn't going to be a guaranteed win unless we can split the heals here. So for Shikigami, ideally, maybe you drop Strangling Prison, force the Invisible Boundary, then use the Last Stand to take them out. It's not going to necessarily be a super easy fight. Envy, they have some tools in the belt here.
Krasmang here, dropping the prison. Prison v prison right now. Who's going to come out on top? Envy dumping the bank. They have to win this fight. Cal, though, ends up falling. Melophobia getting to the back. Both teams down to Hella. Both dead to Wolverine. 5-on-5. NK right now, looking for a little bit more here for Envy. Remix on the ropes, Remix super low. Remix chunked on down, as well as Narrow. And Shikigami, they have broken through the blockade. They're gonna take map 2, one map away from being back-to-back champions here in North America.
And you don't hear me say this very often at all, but what a performance from the Cloak and Dagger player for Shikigami. Dinks, I mean, the value they got consistently post Eternal Bond, setting up vulnerabilities, just doing damage, working as almost a duelist player. That's, Dinks opens up again post the ult trades there in that fight there for the last point for Shikigami. And Ricky and Dinks just looking really consistently strong here as a strategist line.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, if you were doubting Shikigami, if you were thinking last week was a fluke, if you were going, 100 Thieves, what were they doing? This is for real. And again, my only thing as I look at it, when I look at pieces that have been huge, I mean, look, you could sing Melphobia's praises for the versatility from the Torch into the Wolverine, but also Krasmang, just so devastating on the group. The stats don't lie. And I still think here, if you're Envy, it's time to cut down the tree. Remix might have to change, but solo Krasmang.
Yeah, and
Avast, I was just looking at the chat, and they're saying that it is a Groot diff. I look at these numbers, I don't see a difference outside of the final hits. It's clear that both players were using their ultimates. The one thing I was watching was how many times we saw Remix in the top right corner. His little indicator had a spiral over his head, meaning he's stunned. He was getting targeted nonstop throughout this match.
I mean, I think that's definitely part of it, is that there was more pressure on Euromix for sure. I think it's like a multifaceted point here, right? Because Krasming, I think, had better walls on average, but also Shikigami were just putting a lot more pressure consistently into the backline, I think, especially even just dinks taking matters into their own hands sometimes. So I do, and also utilizing some interesting comps just to get out of spawn to break the spawn hold early, like this storm comp. So yeah, I think Krasming played really, really well and continues to play well on the Groot, and is outperforming Euromix on that, but also Shikigami are setting up a lot more pressure points to where there's less issues for Krasming to get value.
Shikigami getting value out of every comp they bring to the table so far. Envy still looking for answers. We've talked about a potential group ban moving forward. ZP, is there anything from this comp that you want to see more of from Envy?
I think from Envy, I don't know if like running Strange versus Emma is the play. I feel like, honestly, Envy has been thrown off a bit from what they want. And a lot of it, truth be told, you go back to like other elements in here, it's the fact that Shikigami forces a different strategist game than basically any other team in the game. They go out of their way to ban 3 strategists, every single draft. Every single draft, they take down 3 and they get the highest value picks. And it just changes the flow of the game. It changes how sustainable things are. It changes how you have to position, how you have to play. And I do wonder, as well as some players have been playing for Shikigami, how much of this also is the fact that I don't think a lot of teams play against a team like Shikigami that just ferociously hates Luna Snow and Invisible Woman to the degree that Shikigami clearly does.
If you're just joining us, that was Envy's best performance. In fact, one of the most impressive performances we've seen on Rivals Fight Night. Now it's kind of looking like maybe Shroud X just truly failed. Envy falls to Shikigami on their own map pick, and now it is match point for Shikigami. But Envy's not out of this yet, Avast. You still got 3 bans to work with. You got 2 protects, and again, it's your map choice. Was the domination close enough for you to give any confidence in your team to go to another dom map next?
I don't know. I mean, the first domination on Krakoa might have been just because it's a new map, right? So teams aren't as familiar with it. They're playing that Human Torch strategy, which maybe Envy aren't as comfortable playing against or with. Could be that. Maybe you take it back to domination. Right now, I mean, across the board, I personally felt like the Midtown looked a lot better than the Krakoa. So maybe you continue on like a convoy or a convergence. Definitely on the ropes for Envy currently, because you look at Shikigami and this team just looks explosive. And I think ZP just finished talking about it. There was just so much variety in terms of Shikigami just removing strategists across the board, which a lot of teams don't target strategists nearly as much as Shikigami does in terms of just how do you define the comp you're going to play and how do you just remove the strengths from the comps for the other team.
Zeep, I'm having fun, but I'm kind of worried that the night's about to end right here.
I think it's likely, unless Envy reads through what Shikigami has been telegraphing all night. Who is Shikigami protected with their first protect all night long? That's right, it's Groot. They are literally telling you, we don't want you banning Groot under any circumstances. I think you're a Tasmo. You take iRemix aside, you go, look, you're one of our most valuable players. We know you're good at Groot. It's not about you, buddy. It's about Krasmang. We need to hurt Krasmang, and we have faith you will step up on a different Vanguard. But we're burning down the forest, and we're opening up with a Groot first ban. I think if Envy does that, there's a hope.
What's crazy is I was in Remix's stream for like 4 hours on 3 different occasions. He was playing Loki every single time I went to his stream. Does this guy just do that for ranked Avast, or is this a Vanguard who could flex to a triple healer or triple strategist comp? What can you do differently from Envy? Because they've shown us they're comfortable with 3 different players on that Vanguard.
I mean, it's possible, but they've already shown, like I said, that like Cal can swap to it. Like, I don't really think it's an issue here of flexibility in terms of who can swap play Vanguard, who can play strategist. It's an issue of just what strategists / Vanguards do you play. I don't think it's like we don't need people to swap.
Jeff. I got nothing.
That's a pretty good. I mean, that's a great list.
It's a good start.
That's a fantastic list. I do think overall, though, that's the issue for Envy here, is that they have players that can be flexible. Great, but they need to be flexible in terms of what do you play in those roles. You need to be getting off maybe the Groot, like you said, like maybe we target brand the Groot, have everyone play something else. Okay, maybe we make sure to deny the Human Torch or even play the Human Torch. I think it's once again not an issue of player flexibility in terms of swapping roles. It's more so what heroes do you play.
I want to see no Mag and no Groot this game. Get weird, guys. Let's see the path a different way. For the first time, we will see a Groot ban from Envy, and Avast will go on to watch Envy take this to a game 5.
Game 4. We still got. Right now.
No, they're gonna win this one. Then they're gonna learn from this, do it again.
Okay.
I mean, I think more importantly, I think we're getting a lot of accusations that we've been paid off. We've been paid off by Envy, apparently.
Hastro has some deep pockets.
He does.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Bitcoin transfer right away, Hastro, for the glaze that we've given so far.
Shikigami's been listening. Just kidding. They've done this every time, guys.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? Like, remove the Loki, protect the Groot. Like, this is a very strong opening. The Shikigami opener, as they say.
Your strategists are not safe. If you play against Shikigami, they will be banned. Unless you're Envy here and you protect Luna. Do you protect Luna? Do you protect Invisible Woman? No, you protect Star-Lord. And as a result,
actually, you could still... It's kind of interesting, ZP, because if they protected Star-Lord like you highlighted, maybe they could still protect Luna so they can guarantee the Idol or the Snowflake on to Star-Lord, which is something they haven't really done before, especially with Hela being banned. So they've removed Evadian, who's, to be fair, Evadian's Hela has been really strong this series. So, I mean, definitely not a bad pick.
So now Evadian goes back to the Torch with no Hela on the map.
Very likely, unless Torch gets banned. We'll see what gets banned out here. But if you're Envy, like, if you don't protect it, Luna is going to be the last ban from Shikigami. Like, if you want to play Luna, this is your opportunity to protect Luna, or she is going bye-bye. The strategist assault from Shikigami will not be ending. And you've protected Luna. Good. You have learned.
You have learned. And so it's different now, because now they can guarantee that at least maybe they have a flyer comp that they want to play at least with the Luna, even if they don't get the Adam Warlock for the Rez team up. They do get that at least, which is something. And they're going to remove the Hulk again, which is, I mean, it kind of makes sense because it denies some of the, you remove the Namor team up, you remove just Hulk in general. Magneto's banned.
Okay. I think we're going to see a lot of fun out of Shikigami. I am worried for Envy in this one. Lads, talk me through it, Avast. What are they cooking up over on the blue side? What comp can I bring that takes down the squad that is up 2-0 over me?
I mean, I look at what their protects and bans are right now, and like I said, I think it's playing a Luna Snow with some flyers, specifically like a Star-Lord. I think or just a flanker in general, knowing that Hulk's been banned, so you don't get the Namor team up either. It's even with the bug for the squid, so I do feel like that's the most likely option. Also, with Hela being banned on what is a very strong Hela map, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because Cal's Hela has typically been very good, but Amadian's Hela has also been really, really strong this series.
Also, by the way, when you look at the comp here, Torch was not banned, and Invisible Woman is still available. So Shikigami, particularly when they go over to the defense here, guess what? He's back. The new hotness, quite literally. Melophobia, back on the Human Torch. Envy, they don't have to deal with Melophobia's Wolverine anymore, but things are about to get spicy.
I think it's a bit better of a matchup here, though, because you're going to have Nero keeping the pocket onto, well, I was about to say you're going to have, like, the Star-Lord, but Cal's actually just mirroring. They're going to mirror the Human Torch. And I still like this because, I mean, well, to be fair, I guess Dinks is also in Luna Snow, so it's pretty much just an equal Luna Snow pocket and a Human Torch from both sides.
We'll see which Torch is on top, but you know what Melophobia was able to do earlier today? You got to be worried for Envy, as Kaluge is already getting chunked down. Getting healed back up in turn, but Cal, quick little dive in. Both teams looking for advantage right now in the neutral. Krasmang going on forward, and Cal been pretty aggressive right now, dropping the armor. It's a real durable Human Torch between the Luna and the Invisible Woman, and now looking for Krasmang to get Krasmang down, but they lose Remix in turn. The Force is getting burned to vast.
Yeah, I mean, it's just setting up these, it's just kind of like an RTS, like it's a tower defense. You're just watching just all the Blazy Blasts go up, forcing, just building the wall of fire slowly. As Melophobia, though, gonna be winning that duel up in the air. And when you watch these duels take place, Melophobia gets another, you need to be also keeping an eye on the Invisible Woman, the Guardian Shields. Like, there was a nerf, so they have a little bit less health than before, but it doesn't really matter if you're just dealing with 1v1 duelist duels. So much of this fight that happens is how can they empower their Human Torch player?
I'm gonna be honest, this has real first hold potential here. I think getting through Torch on this choke is quite literally hell with the amount of fire that's going down here. Cal, though, gonna be the first to to drop the supernova, get some fire tornadoes into the back. They need something off of this, and so far they're not able to find a Melphobia. Meanwhile, gonna pop tornadoes in turn. Amadian was able to get to the back line, got down the invisible woman, and Envy is just getting crushed in this choke point. Nothing is getting better. Remix burned to the ground, and Shikigami, 2 minutes burned off the clock.
I mean, the ult trade's just better. The ult trade's just better across the board here for Shikigami. They're using this defensive corner so well. So they're gonna hold on. Dance of the Butterfly, they're gonna hold on to the visible boundary still. No Envy. Get to walk on ward. They have a Strangling Prison. They have a Psionic Seduction. I mean, the damage is real. I mean, that is insane, actually, to already have 40%. But this is Envy's chance. This is Envy's chance knowing there's only one strategist ult. They need to go for it. Oh!
All right, Kaluj finding the moment. Gets Scatter Genji out of the fight. Big Vanguard advantage now for Envy. They needed something to go here. They've used the invisible boundary already. NK now working to the backside, waiting for the Shikigami boundary to go down. Ready to do some dancing instead. Gets healed back up on his side. Kaluj moves on in. Psionic Seduction in play. Trying to add on to this early pick. So far, though, Shikigami doing a great job of getting away. Melphobia, there's no way he lives. Melphobia was so low. Drops the Force Armor at the very end. Ricky ends up falling, stays alive, and somehow takes down NK. But Envy finishes him off, keeps it on rolling. Does Shikigami still decide to contest? Scatter Genji says, absolutely. Right back on in at Krasmang, setting up here for the Strange Portal. Will it come in time? He's channeling, he's going. The portal is up. The first point not over here just yet. But is Shikigami gonna be able to find their footing? Melphobia back over and in, has the ultimate ready to go. But can they stay on the convoy? That's gonna be the question. Krasmang down, your sacrifice noted. Melphobia still has yet to pull it, and now NK just says, dance the butterfly, let's make sure it happens. Melphobia, though, over the top, drops the supernova into the fire shots to the back line, but it's not enough when no one's on the point.
I think the portal is ambitious for sure, especially because what's so good at stopping the contest is as soon as you go with that diamond form, you can just drop the carbon crush, that pretty much that grapple to just find and pluck out the Psylocke that's going for the contest. As look at this, also the damage here for Cal. A little early, just getting a lot of DOT. Contesting the Human Torch here as well. Melphobia gonna have to be careful a bit, taking a lot of damage. And Envy finally with some momentum. They have some momentum, they have some options here to maybe potentially set up a supernova.
Ooh. Real close to getting the pick off there, but not close enough. Shikigami, they navigate the fire field. They get on out of Amadian, able to punish Cal before he gets away. So, one up now is Shikigami. Looking to reestablish their defense here. Krasmang getting the walls up in place, but Remix dropping the Strangling Prison. No pickoffs though as a result. Dinks comes in, Fate of Both Worlds keeps everyone nice and healthy. Both Luna's ulting here. Shikigami still a slightly better spot. Krasmang, all eyes gotta be on him. The prison, good to go. Drops it into the back line, and it did force out the invisible boundary in turn. Both teams still to full. Krasmang though needs to get out, super low HP, ends up getting walled off. Remix not letting him get away. And Envy earning a one-player advantage, but Amadian to the back line. The dance is massive.
I mean, the Psionic Seduction plus the Dance of the Butterfly. And they invested so much to stay alive. NK, though, still up, but gonna commit, but pretty low HP. Ooh. Can they get one? They get one. They might be able to get two.
Yeah, not quite.
It doesn't matter, though. I mean, it opens up, keeps the fight going. But I think if you're Shikigami in that situation, you're still kind of happy there. Because you get to walk back in this with a Supernova. You can come back with a contest. You know you got some late picks there onto Envy. Krasmang can just anchor because they're not going to be able to just immediately take him out here. Yeah, they definitely won't because Melphobia's there to back him up. So this is fine for Shikigami. Getting a lot of value from that combo between Scatter Genji and Amadian.
Melphobia really spreading out the damage right now, making every shot count. The ultimate, good to go. And now, gonna drop it. Gonna say, Envy, take a step back. Shots here on the collusion. Lose Amadian early, so this is gonna be all mellow here if they get anything done. Torch vs. Torch at the top. Cal may regret that fight. Just gets shotgunned right on down. Now, of course, the ultimate is fading with Shikigami. Able to equalize a little bit here. Respawns are coming back in. Krasmang finding Remix. And with only a minute left, Envy may be running out of steam.
Melphobia having some issues there to get that to finish off that final limb, but works out still. The pressure is there, and it's a little bit of an unfair fight when you're Supernova because you get those reduced cooldowns. You're firing just non-stop. Shikigami, though, with the Strangling Prison, they're gonna have the boundary, so some pretty good ults across the board here. For Envy, it's a little scary because sure, you get a Supernova, but no guarantee you can burn through those strategist ults.
Krasmang dropping the Strangling
Prison.
And
I guess they forced the Fate of Both Worlds.
Either got blocked, whiffed, or something.
Well, it forced the Fate of Both Worlds, though, from Nero, so it's still valuable.
That's true. Here we go, Cal. Throwing damage in the backline, forces out Fate of Both Worlds. Meanwhile, Remix dropping the Strangling Prison. It's two ults into Fate, so Really nice ult economy from Shikigami, getting the most out of the Luna ult. Envy kind of thrown 2 into it. Cal, though, working into the backline, can feel the pick, but also feels the pressure at the same time. Has to back out for a moment. Going for Mello. In over the top, has a slight advantage, but Ricky with the save. Invisible boundary. Right place, right time as Dance of the Butterfly comes on in. Shikigami not giving up anyone here just yet. Envy, desperate to get anything going here in overtime. They could get held here and now. The boundary, though, about to fade for both sides. Melphobia dropping the fire here onto payload. Krasmang, though, down as Shikigami now leading a little bit more than Envy here so far. But Canadian able to get the backline, gets on the NK. Melphobia finally going down the Cal, and it has turned into a brawl here on the point. Dance of Butterfly, though, in.
Patty cake! They patty caked! Oh, they just patty caked each other. The strategist keeps them alive as Cal continues to get those picks in the backline. And with a strategist line for Envy, that is the patty cake setup.
They're
Envy can test still for Shikigami. They can touch.
Yeah, it's not over yet here at second point. Overtime still in progress. Cal having to deal with his counterpart in the top. Torch versus Torch. The tree in the way. Does not land the impact at the very end. Mellophobia able to get out and away. Cal, though, still in hot pursuit. Both teams looking at now. Fate of both worlds out here once more for Envy. Envy back up to full strength. Cal gonna drop the Inferno right now. Looking for more presence on the point. They've got Scatter Genji down with Remix on the swap to the Strange. Now into the choke point. Luna, though, gonna get Fate of both worlds up, but it's Shikigami. Only 3 people left remaining as overtime continues here. Surely Envy will be able to clean up and force into 3.
They definitely will. They're not going to commit anymore. It was a slow burn at that point, literally, with the fire tornadoes coming on out as Envy getting some clutch picks and a lot of presence again to Kaluj. I mean, respect to Kaluj and Cal both. Cal getting consistent picks and Kaluj with the diamond form just staying up, staying alive, getting those vanguards off the point. And the strategists keeping themselves up through the Dance of the Butterfly. So every part of Envy working in synergy there. But a lot of time off the board here. I mean, we're looking at what? Maybe 2 fights max? 2 fights max here?
Yeah, 2 fights if they're lucky. Shikigami looking to retool. The invisible boundary good to go. Envy, though, is working with more in their bank here so far. Remix gonna open up here with the Agamotto. It's only on the Dinks. It's a 1-man eye of Agamotto, and Remix kind of puts himself in a rough position for it still. Forces out the invisible boundary.
What a good
not a total waste, and Mellophobia able to chase that down. Envy came in with a lot here at Vast, and they're not leaving with much.
No, I mean, they're going to get the Supernova out for Shikigami as well. Mellophobia going to be committed. I mean, they don't want to get staggered too much later, though. They definitely do not want to get staggered here on the doors, but the stagger, it's happening all the same. They have fire tornadoes looking like twisters out here. We need Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell, please help us. So now, Shikigami, though, holding the choke. Dance of Butterfly, they are going to have the Strangling Prison, but Envy, a lot of ults in the bank here. They have some options.
Here we go, Envy, last opportunity to finish out this map. Invisible boundary, dropped real early. Dance of the Butterfly in, NK finding Dinks. 3 down for Shikigami, and Envy connects when they need it most.
I mean, I think if you're Shikigami, you're relatively happy with that. Obviously, you want to win the fight, but you get to walk back in here with Psionic Seduction. You're going to mirror that for Kaluj. You have a Dance of the Butterfly close to the Fate of the World, so the ult bank, I mean, I guess to be fair, it's relatively equivalent across the board here. For Envy, they can be super aggressive, use this DOT here.
I think you look to Kaluj, and yeah, Kaluj immediately opening up with the Psionic Seduction. And who's the problem? It's Krasmang. Krasmang could not resist the charms of Kaluj. And now you've gotten rid of that huge threat, that huge control. Now you look to the skies. Get rid of the torch threat if you can. It has to be the goal. Instead, they take down Scatter Genji. The front line for Shikigami is decimated. Cal working the back right now. Now to the strategist, finds Ricky before they can get the help. And this is looking surgical right now from Envy Millennium. Most Fate of both worlds now in from Narrow. The Dance of Butterfly from Madian, not getting much done. The payload nearly where it needs to be. The convoy so close. Remix able to take down Dinks. And it's Envy adding pickoff after pickoff. They're nearly there.
I mean, even with there's the Psionic Seduction, but it's too late. They have the walls. There's not enough damage on the point. Krasmang tried to do another little cheeky box play there on the group, but it just wasn't going to be enough. And Envy, I mean, also another moment for the Emma Frost just proficiency for Kaluj there, because not only Envy does such a good job of keeping the pressure on the doors holistically, but then they make sure to immediately use the Psionic Seduction from up on the high ground onto Krasmang alone. Just remove the Groot off the field, which is, you know, one of the primary drivers of slowing down the fight and also isolating picks there for Shikigami. So Kalush just opening the fight there again and just giving the space for the rest of his team. And because the skybox is here a lot lower compared to Krakoa, I also think this NK on the Psylocke is working a lot better.
By the way, can we talk about the duelist balance right now? You got everyone else's damage in the game.
I am looking at Cal's damage. It is. I mean, the Cal damage, and also, I mean, just the limbs in general.
Yeah.
Or sorry, yeah. I mean, look at. I mean, that's insanity. I mean, look at Cal's damage too, though. I mean, Milliphobia's damage is crazy, but look at Cal's just limbs and damage comparatively.
Torch damage is what we're looking at right now.
Torch damage,
is out of this world.
30 seconds before you attack.
Like in other games, you have the idea of like, oh, that player's playing so well, he's on fire. What if you create a hero that was just on fire the entire time? And that's a new torch.
Dude, look at there's the patty cake. Classic. Classic moment there. It's just so, you have to feel so sad because the thing is, it's not hard to counter the Dance of the Butterfly, but it requires your strategist to have the cool, like, clear thinking to be like, okay, quick, turn to me, patty cake, right now.
Is that a real comm? Do you say patty cake? All right,
some people do, yeah. A lot of people do say patty cake. So it's not. I'm not sure if they're saying that, but they're probably saying care me or help me.
I would have done hot potato, something way more fun. Patty cake's cute though.
All right, you got the Puckett seal of cuteness.
Hey, that's Jeff. Do you see that? Do you see Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff is real. They say Jeff can't hurt you, but Mello's decided, I'm not a fan of the fire. Bring me the water.
That's a Jeff with a cap, by the way. The capflation there. So they have Crazy Bang on the cap. They're going to full chaos composition, and the chaos is working.
Amadian finishing off what Jeff starts. The Jeff is real.
I mean, the chaos isn't working, actually. Maybe I spoke too soon, but it is getting picks, which means because of the spawn advantage here, this is still great. Still very solid for Shikigami.
No, I think the Jeff is actually sort of worked out. Oh, okay. This is where Human Torch versus Jeff. Yeah, you know. I mean, Jeff is a squirrely character. Oh, Luminaires! Literally took him down, and Jeff eats a little bit of fire in turn and decides, all right, get him back on out. The Jeff, a constant distraction. Meanwhile, Cal dropping the fire while worrying about a shark all the while, and also America. The captain of America.
Worrying about sharks and America. Like that's just some classic threats here on the board.
Sharks in America. That's where we're at right now here at Rivals Fight Night. Nero, though, able to take down Krasbang, defeating Captain America in the back line. Jeff may still be dancing around, but I'm not quite sure Envy cares. About a minute and a half burned off the clock.
I think Shikigami might be getting a little too cute with it. I think they might get a little too, like, the idea maybe could have worked, like, off the rip before, okay, they weren't expecting the chaos composition, but now they're stuck, they're committing to this Jeff comp and this Captain America comp. So the damage isn't particularly high unless your Jeff is able to land a lot of shots. And Captain America does very little damage.
Hear me out. We've seen this before from OG Esports Week 3. You wait till you get your Jeff ult. You eat the entire team. You spit them off the map. You get checkpoint. You do this on point 1 and point 2. Back to you.
You know, that may be the plan, but also, you're probably not going to get Torch in that Jeff ult. We'll see.
Oh, wait.
Here we go.
Here it comes. He got 3. He got 3.
He's got 3.
He's just got the ult. He's got to get on the ult. He's got the bubbles. He has the bubbles. He's got it.
He actually laid a path one the world.
Wait, no, it's 2. No, they're too far away. They're too far away.
He didn't quite get there, but he actually preset a path to try and get to the end even more. You gotta appreciate the planning, even if it didn't quite work out. Shikigami,
okay, they're getting too cutesy. They're getting too cutesy, ZP. I mean, they're gonna commit the Captain American ult here too, but the problem is, like, it's just taking too long. It's taking too long, though. They have heals, they have strategists, they have the boundary. Like, they need to get a pick right now. This is their chance. Amadian has Dance of the Butterfly, and there's no strategist ult. This is their chance, surely.
Oh, Krasmang going down low. By the way, this is the rare Krasmang down in Groot. We're seeing a different look. However, Amadian into the back. Dance of the Butterfly gets 1. Remix out right after. Shikigami with a little bit of life. Cal trying to shut on down to the back line. Gets rid of the Luna. Looking for a little bit more. The damage from Cal. Unreal. NK following up right after it, but Envy is still wounded. They lost Kaluj. Shikigami, though, I mean...
he's here. Captain America.
That's right.
Fear.
Puts out
Fear.
fires. Oh,
they're going to portal in a little too late. The good news when you lose your strategist, ZP, is that Mellophobia can still heal. That's the great news, is that they can still have a Jeff on the board when they lose their other 2 strategists.
Okay. Does Jeff persist? I mean, there is a ledge to go here, and maybe Mellophobia is gonna just grease the path again with the Jeff bubbles. We'll see. I mean,
it's so scary when you're on the flank as a duelist in Captain America. He's just running on. He's on your left.
Yeah, I mean, he's continually on your left. Also, sometimes on your right. A little bit of lore breaking. But Envy, looking for a way through. NK, chunking down Amadian. There is like a lack of control we see here for Shikigami relative to the norm without the group. But here we go. NK, Dance of the Butterfly. cuts down Ricky. Melphobia able to get one in turn, so some trade outs coming. Cal, meanwhile, fire away. Switching his fire back over onto the convoy, dropping it down one after another. And I mean,
Jeff.
yes, that too. He's got ult. That's
However,
the
I mean,
he's got ult.
The fight is definitely over, barring some Wait, what?
Did he just?
He got. Wait, what's he? Wait, he's gonna get. Is he gonna? It's a 2-man. It's a 2. Wait, he got one. He's taking him.
One.
Wait, they're gonna get him. They're getting him. They're getting him. Wait,
him,
they're all on. They're all on Kalush. Okay, they got him.
How'd your day go? Got eaten by a shark.
I mean, the thing is, relatively low value because sure they get to walk through choke, but Kalush can just come back to spawn. The spawn, like they can just back up. Like they get space at least, and well, they don't even get. They lose a pick.
Well, they can't get space. He's not on the team anymore. And now that I've gotten that out of the way, I've gotten that out of the way. Well, Amadian right now, just walking forward. Dance of the Butterfly, good to go. Shikigami looking out of sorts with this Captain America Jeff comp, but okay, you get NK. There's still hope. Amadian into the back line. The dance is good to go. Remix frozen and not quite bursted down. The invisible boundary coming just in the nick of time as Kalush walks forward, picks up 2. And that was looking like disaster for Envy, but the timely strategist ult coming in for Month does the work.
I mean, the Shikigami have comp themselves. They've Kompenheimered. I mean, this is actually just, I mean, Killian Murphy, like, hand to his head, envisioning the destruction of his comp because, like, this is insanity. They've shoehorned themselves into this. It's all based off, like, a very chaos, like, brawl style, and now they don't have the Fatal with Worlds into the supernova, so they have to be really careful.
This delay is ridiculous. They're all going through one doorway. But they can't go through it now. You don't, well, aside from Captain America, he doesn't care. Captain America,
I mean, and then Melphobia's gone. He's gone.
Jeff ult.
I mean, they do have a Jeff ult. Yes, they do have a Jeff ult. That is true. There's no strategist ult either for the Dance of the Butterfly. But Krasman's going to just go to the back and be like, okay, they can't deal with me. So he's probably going to be their touch component.
Well, meanwhile, Dance of the Butterfly, NK, easy chopping. He's the chef. You put him on the chopping board and sliced and diced away. But as Puckett
I mean, Krasman can touch.
Jeff ult. Can the Jeff ult work? Jeff, over. Just getting hit with fire.
He's got to live. He's got to live. He's got to live. I mean, Krasman doing his best to stay alive, getting the heals. Gonna go down. The Jeff ult of the Sentry. It has to happen now. It has to happen now if there's ever a chance.
How hungry are you?
They don't touch. They don't touch because Dance of the Butterfly is not considered a contest.
Oh. Well. Envy comes back, but I don't know how much I want to praise Envy so much as I want to just look at Shikigami and go, come on. What did we just see in that last fight? Captain America swap comes on in, and I feel like you've just proven the point that if you get Shikigami off of Groot, they are a different team, even when they take themselves off Groot. That's all I know.
Okay. We were accused earlier of Hastro paying us off. Did Hastro pay off the team manager? Were they slipped? Perhaps some sort of drugs, some sort of
Melphobia at halftime caught a bag of some sort because he had what 31,000 damage, finishes with 36,000, 3 failed ultimates. Melphobia, you will never be Tanuki, son. Go back, study your Jeff gameplay, come back stronger. I appreciate the attempt though.
Well, that's just where it's at right now. So Envy stays alive in the series. They force a map 4. I don't think anyone really predicted the script that we went down here, but something tells me it may be the last we see of Jeff and perhaps Captain America today, because Shikigami, when they're on Groot, they look fantastic. We're on the Captain America Jeff comp. They are highly entertaining, but vastly less effective.
Melphobia is the dirtiest in the air we've seen so far, right? Are we gonna crown him?
I mean,
best
Cal
so far?
Cal looked really good on the Human Torch this map, to be fair. So I think for Melphobiia, they look pretty, like they definitely look solid, but Cal looks like they can definitely equal it. I mean, I would rather take the Melphobiia Human Torch over the Melphobiia Jeff. Definitely.
True. There's a little sample of why.
Yeah, bam. I mean, look, Jeff can work on this map. It has worked in the past. It didn't work here. I also think trying to go for that when the other team is running someone that's almost guaranteed never to be in your Jeff ult in Torch is probably a bad idea, because even if you get the eat, the odds are pretty high you're still gonna like die as Jeff before you get to the edge.
He got so close. The butterfly slowing him down. Ugh.
I'm gonna be honest.
A little high, buddy. You aimed a little high.
I don't like the Jeff, But realistically, I think the real issue here was that, I mean, you're playing the Captain America 2 to kind of fight the backline at the same time, which means essentially you never had cart presence, right? You never were able to contest the cart unless you were going for like a recontest situation. You weren't keeping like an anchor on cart to force the Envy front line to like look towards it to kind of set up your Jeff to look for eats. Like I mean, like I understand the idea behind the composition, but I feel like you got greedy, biblical level greed. You can have the Jeff and you can have maybe a Groot, but you can't have a Captain America and a Jeff, maybe.
Listen,
I feel like it's a little too greedy.
Shikigami gave the people what we deserved, and that is more of Season 2 Rivals Fight Night. We are going to allow our producer his one bathroom break of the night. When we come back, it's game number 4. NA Finals, $1,000 on the line. Shikigami, you're heroes. But we all win when we play together. It's patty cake time, baby. Round 7 of Rivals Fight Night continues live with big eyes. They're green, not brown. Some headshots. Some bubbles. A lady with a hat. Is it a fedora? Yes, it is. She throws a scream. And then there was nothing happening in that clip. It was just slow-mo garbage. Shout out to everyone who has tuned in. We are now officially 9,856 subs away from the ZP Bikini stream. Avast, I have a feeling we're getting there by episode 20.
I mean, this is what the people have been wanting. I've been hearing the community clamor for this, so it's definitely a big sub goal for ours. So I'm hoping that we reach it soon.
Did we agree, ZP, that we were going with the American flag top, or what are we thinking?
I'm not sure there was any agreement whatsoever, but, sure. That may be as effective to the eyes as Captain America was to Shikigami in the last match, which was not effective at all. So I don't know if we're going to see more Captain America coming on in, but, for Shikigami, I think they should stick to, what's good for him.
I've known you a while, ZP. You look good in stripes. Just saying. Avast, let's talk a little bit about this game that we're playing. It's called Marvel Rivals. We're in Season 2. There's a new character, but Emma Frost hasn't been getting a lot of love. We've been talking about the Groots. We've been talking a little bit about Jeffries. But it might get serious. We're going to Symbiotic Surface. Talk me through comps. What do you want to see? And will Envy allow Hulk through for the first time?
I mean, it's possible. Namor has also historically been pretty good on this map, so if you want to try to force that new team up potentially, I mean, this is a situation because of how strong the first choke is, particularly even the second. Really, Emma Frost could still be pretty strong here, as well as good username, 2000. Thank you for the prime. Reaching that out for you, Puckett. I'm taking
9,855 away from the ZP Bikini stream. Thank you very much. Good username.
We're getting 2000. There. We're getting there slowly but surely, but it is pretty interesting because I do think there's a lot of comps that could work that team's been playing. You could see more Hella, you could see Namor even that hasn't played too much, especially with the the Luna Snow loss of that team up. Could see some Emma Frost. It's kind of up in the air, but as Shikigami once again rolling out, like ZP's pointed out a lot of, we're getting rid of the Loki, we're getting rid of Strategist kind of early.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to change. They've protected Groot every time. They know Groot is where their bread is buttered.
ZP does not. Can you read that above me? What's that?
We got a Z Prime. We got a Z Prime.
Sunflower Sen has
Oh God. Hastro's making it happen. Not yet, ZP. You survived tonight. You survived tonight. Yeah. We need to place the order now. Get it ready.
Okay.
You're medium, right? Yeah,
Well, yeah, sure, medium. I just didn't know of all things that would get Stro to bust out the gift subs. That is unreal.
Astro, congrats on winning a map. Do we get 10 gifted per map win in this final?
I don't think we heard anything to the contrary. So yeah, I think 10 gifted per map win from Astro here for Envy, and then an extra 50 if Envy win it all. That seems fair to me.
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 9,844 subs away from the Bikini stream. We are going into the game with the final bans and protects locked in. Avast, take me back on track.
Well, to take away from our rampant corruption here for the Astro subs, I do think that you look at the bans, the protects across the board. First of all, no Hulk. So we're still not getting a Hulk. We're definitely not seeing the Namor team up at least with the Hulk. But it kind of makes sense for Shikigami. I mean, Rocket Raccoon gone. They got the Loki gone. They have Invisible Woman gone. So typically just targeting strategist there for Shikigami. Envy, in return, they protected the Lunar Snow, they protected the Human Torch, so they might be that maybe Envy now wants to play a little bit more Torch moving forward throughout the series after Cal put on a pretty banger performance.
Yo, production, we got to raise that bit minimum. 100 gets Bobinator 077 live in the stream. This is a grand final. There's $1,000 on the line, Bobinator, and you think you can just come in here and interrupt a Vast? We've got Symbiotic Surface. We've got ZP. Is there no more?
You know, Namor may be something we'll see. If you're going to see it, you would be here on Symbiotic Surface. I will say, like, the back and forth for Envy being like, we will ban the Torch. We will play the Torch. We will protect the Torch. Going on here is kind of interesting to see. I still think between the two, even though Cal looked good, I still liked Melphobia's performance. It's just Melphobia stopped playing Human Torch in the last map and, you know, went rogue. Went full DPS Jeff, and it didn't quite work. So this may be more by the book. Melphobia back onto the Torch to start things off here for the Shikigami attack on Symbiotic Surface.
Every time you say Torch, it's just Minecraft in my head, and then I want to start saying Minecraft movie like Jack Black quotes. So I have to stop myself every time because, you know, you see the strategist, like, they're gonna heal someone, they'll be like, the heal and peel, and they start shouting.
Everyone has different urges. Just embrace them at Vast.
That's right.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Is Shikigami going here to fight this flank very aggressively? Pretty common here for the first point of Symbiotic. No one wants to go through that choke as Envy contesting them pretty aggressively.
NK goes on at the Blaster Barrage. Also immediately heads on out after getting hit with the cloak. But now, Envy rotating a little bit back. Shikigami again positioning in. Krasmang, though, getting real low. However, he'll back up in the nick of time. Shikigami strategist on top of it. NK going for another dive over and in. Both teams right now feeling each other out. This could be a really quick Galactic Legend build. You take a look at NK right now. 95% nearly there. Shikigami, though, Eternal Bond coming on out. Leading the way is her Cloak and Dagger, putting Envy into the corner quite literally and blinding them to boot. The Galactic Legend's good to go, but Cal is down. Scour Genji taking advantage of the dive from the Cloak. Cal may be back into it, but here we go. Galactic Legend, NK, low HP, still looking for picks in turn. Is NK going to be able to find it? I think it's a little bit topped off, but the Galactic Legend, is it going to be enough for Krasmang? No! The Fate of Both Worlds comes on in nick of time from Ricky. And just like that, Shikigami staying in the fight. Meteor M from Kaluj. Can it add some stability? The answer is no.
The Hand of Contra, though, with the combo. There it is. 3 down off the Strangling Prison. So Shikigami, I mean, off that really early Eternal Bond build there for Dinks, just getting so much space, setting up the vulnerability too. And Shikigami with a very interesting comp too with this, like playing the Moon Knight, playing the Human Torch. So you have some option to contest NK, you have a little bit of long range poke, and you also have this burst damage, especially for the Hand of Khonshu in these very tight corridors. And with the buffs that have come out to Moon Knight, I mean, he's more mobile, he gets bonus health, his ult's better, and his ult is already really good. This is a pretty interesting composition.
I think particularly when you have Groot and you can combo Prison and Khonshu at the same time, I do think a lot of the value just comes from the fact that, okay, you got a Moon Knight and you know you're gonna get Prison, you combo the two together. Also, Remix is getting caught out here and then some. The pressure on the way in. Meteor M from Scour Genji wants to finish the job, but the healing might have come in just in the nick of time. Remixling, no, not quite. The combo with the Torch ult. You see Melphobia come in from the back. They burn down the tree, and now looking for Kaluj, forced on back. Target change up here. Scatter Genji on the NK, and Shikigami lead the way.
I mean, Shikigami here just keeping the advantage press. Gonna come on in. There's the Meteor Impact just coming on forward. Mellophobia, relatively uncontested right now. No one to shoot at him. So Shikigami keeping the pressure going. They're gonna have another Hand of Khonshu. They're about to have another combo with the Strangling Prison. The Strangling Hand. The Strangling Khonshu.
Yeah, I like Khonshu's Prison. Khonshu's Prison.
Khonshu's Prison? Yeah, that sounds better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he puts you in jail and then also, like, just eliminates you in the same jail. So,
oh my goodness, Cal goes to contest.
Oh boy, Cal just getting caught, and now they can save that combo a little bit longer if they want. Krasmang just walks on forward, walls off Remix, gets the elimination, and they just keep on going forward, Avast.
I mean, it's really just this death ball style composition because you just have so much damage between the DOT damage for Mellophobia, between this burst damage here that's coming out from the Moon Knight for Amadian, just farming ults. And Envy are having trouble because you're playing the Star-Lord. Sure, you have really good contest, you have really good flank fighting abilities, but if your team is getting rolled over, the Star-Lord's just kind of watching there, be like, oh, did we just lose? Like every time.
Did we lose? Yeah, the answer may be yes. Also, Galactic Legend, tired of losing. NK, dropping it. Looking for Torch and Healer, and at least forces them down to the ground for the healing. The counter dive in from Cal. But NK into the back. Fate of both worlds is going to be used here. Shikigami spent a little bit of cash to survive, but it's not going to be enough. The Meteor M from Kaluj ends Ricky and ends the hope of Shikigami keeping this push alive.
Using the Fate of both world, that damage boost. Get the max value there from the Meteor M for Kaluj. But Shikigami, I mean, little 3 minutes 45 here on the clock. They hold on to several ults, about to have, 5 ults again. So for Envy, you need to make something happen. You need to ideally burn a lot of ults. You need to make sure that Cal potentially gets a ton of value with the Supernova. Maybe set up NK to just get another Galactic Legend. I mean, 60% already to the Galactic Legend for NK here. This is like kind of the best bet, is that you just trade ults effectively, set up another Galactic Legend.
Yeah, I got a more likely scenario, though. They get sent to jail. I think jail is ready. Khonshu, he's convicted them. Krasmang is the only question where it goes. And, they're going to use the Torch Ult here to maybe buy a little bit of time. Genji actually early. Meteor M, as a result of that, looks for it. Nearly gets picked off and does! Month right after, but there's the Prison and Khonshu bringing in some justice right over the top. The combo connects. And Envy thrown back.
The Prison is there, and it gets a lot of value. I mean, a lot of early damage, too, from that Meteor M from Scatter Genji. So now Envy trying to make it back in. They're going to have the Galactic Legend, but Dinks holds on to the Eternal Bomb. But already, just so much pressure here onto the spawn. With the Supernova, they're just getting picks as they walk out.
Yeah, that's not a spawn door you really want to walk through right now, but you kind of have to because the convoy is nearly at its apex. So, Melophobia buying extra progress with this. Dinks still holding on to Eternal Bond. NK down! Pops the Galactic Legend while getting pressured by Madian, and it does not work out. He was super low HP at the pop. Now Envy, Fate of both worlds in, still down NK. Prison out from Remix, can they get a single pick? Remix meanwhile, Ricky meanwhile, just dancing, keeping Shikigami nice and healthy. Remix caught down off the Prison from Krasmang, and Shikigami continue the push on forward here. Cal gonna try and slow it down with the Supernova, but the damage is just too severe, Vast.
I mean, that's a cap with a little over 2 minutes on the board here, and that's a really fast cap for Symbiotic Surface. I mean, like, incredibly fast. So now, Shikigami, I mean, just keeping the pressure on the entire time. He's still never taking their foot off the gas, ever. Keeping the pressure, using those Blazing Blasts to just go to spawn door, fight the choke every single time. And because also, the strategists were constantly psyching their ults. At no point did Envy really ever have the opening. Their best chance there was Kaluj maybe getting one with the Meteor M, 1 or 2 through the Fate of both worlds for Ricky, but he doesn't find anything. And so now Envy, they're in a very tough spot. It's doable. By no means is it over, but that's a hard offense to follow.
Let me ask you this. You're Envy right now. You're under the gun. You know you're facing elimination, and Shikigami just puts up a decent time on the attack. What, if anything, do you change in your approach right now with your tournament life on the line?
30 seconds before you attack.
I mean, it's a good question. They've looked at their best when maybe you try to pull out like the Emma Frost again, but the thing is, Emma Frost, it might be pretty good here for first and second, but maybe not that great for third. Like, I think it could be tough. You could potentially do it. I think the Star-Lord in particular, like if you're gonna run it, you need to be just constantly pressuring the flanks a lot more. Like, Galactic Legend's great, but you can kind of just heal through it, in particular when you're using some of the cooldowns there for Cloak and Dagger. I mean, Cal, I think when you look at Envy's comp in general, you need more value from your Groot. You need more value from the Duelist, and I think that's the baseline presence here.
Shikigami on the defense. Envy needing to complete the map to stay alive here in Rivals Fight Night North America. $1,000 in the championship on the line. Shikigami looking to be repeat champions once more. We'll see if they can pull it off. Envy right now opening up here. Cal laying down the fire, looking for any opening whatsoever. Envy right now looking pretty resilient. Imagine getting plinked from afar. Same with Dinks, but right now neither team taking anything close to lethal damage. A little bit more of an aggressive dive here though from NK, leading the way in. Sets up Remix for the pick on the Melophobia. But Remix ends up going a little bit far, ends up falling. But you know what? Remix for Krasmang, you'll take that trade any day of the week. And now NK unleashed.
And that's exactly what you needed for Envy. You asked, what do they need to do? Also, really good freeze there. They're going to take down NK. Incredibly good freeze here. I mean, that actually might have given them the opportunity to come back in because they're going to have the Eternal Bond. Now Envy down. A lot of damage here on the field. They do get that strategy ult early. There's a chance here for Envy just to clean up post the Eternal Bond.
Yeah, I mean, Envy drop a bond of their own and use a Supernova. Laying down the fire right now, hoping it works out in their favor. Shikigami trying to dodge the flames. Meanwhile, NK back in the fight. Galactic Legend A lot more ultimates being used here than Envy may have liked. Is NK gonna find anything right now? Still looking and looking. Meanwhile, Meteor M out here from Shikagami. Looks for it and no, goes down the Cal instead. Cal, meanwhile, on the hunt. Sees the Luna on the other side. For now, looking for the tanks. Ends up falling though. Dinks up over the top. A little bit of damage in from the cloak as Envy real close here, and they will get the cap.
And now you can finally finish the point, which was that's what you need to see if you're going to play this Star-Lord composition. Is that, okay, Psylocke, you can do a lot of burst damage. You can find picks on the flanks really effectively. You're a pretty similar old situation to the Galactic Legend, though a little bit less lethal depending on what the situation is. But you have a lot more ability to burst into a fight, to just like run full on onto you, use the bubble, use that bulwark onto the barrage to just try to find someone early. And that's exactly what they did there to open up the fight on the first.
Speaking of opening up fights right now, Remix has the prison ready. Remix not afraid to just pop the prison given the right opportunity. Doesn't matter if anything else is available. Melophobia, meanwhile, Supernova, good to go. Remix is getting burned down. Remix is looking for a prison opportunity instead now. Just in the fire from the sky. Prison, though, still got to come down. And Cal is there in the follow through. Remix finds the right opportunity, and the rest of Envy connects.
I mean, the Snowball's good. Snowball's really good here for Envy. They're keeping the pressure on. They're going to have another Supernova here for the chokes. They're close to a Galactic Legend. I mean, this is a very good situation because there's only one strategy. The biggest thing for Envy to worry about here is, okay, Shikigami, they have to know they're not going to have a ton in the bank just yet. They are close to the Strangling Prison. Maybe Crazebang does some Crazebang things.
NK nearly getting bursted on down. Shikigami, though, they have prison, they have cloak ult. They open the cloak ult. Krasmang getting to stay alive from, but Amadian still getting caught by NK. Envy up one here so far. Cal laying down the fire even as the cloak ult is about to fade. Krasmang, though, can he be the hero once more? The prison comes on out, but the fall through is not there. Envy able to stay alive via the Luna ult. Remix punishing onto Dinks, and Envy really finding their footing here, Avast.
I mean, just keeping control of the tempo, just fighting the choke so aggressively here. Using the sinew walls to just like block off one side too is always helps because you can focus all your fire. Having a supernova there is fantastic. So Envy matching the blistering pace. They're all being pretty depleted here, but I mean, it's not like Shikigami's looking that great either, but definitely looking a bit stronger here. So Shikigami, they need to stabilize. This is their time to stabilize. This is their time to make something happen.
You know who's anti-stabilization right now? Who has been the hero for Envy in the past and for Sentinels in the further past? It's Kalush. Meteor M, good to go. You're feeling it. You got the pick off on that Madian from Narrow. You're going forward. And is it about time to shoot some hoop? You look for the Groot. Krasmang down, moves on forward is Kalush. Hasn't even needed to throw the Meteor M as Envy keeps the momentum here at Vast. Great economy coming on out.
And they're going to have a ton of ults. I mean, nearly 4 or 5 ults here for Envy already in this fight as the Madians made the swap to Moon Knight here for last, trying to get that burst damage here. Melophobia going to pop it early as Supernova, but just getting dueled by Cal, keeping the pressure on.
Does not connect. Meanwhile, Beta Both Worlds going to be out here from Ricky. Shikigami trying to take the advantage here. Genji, Meteor M is on. Remix though hanging on to Strangling Prison. The pressure coming on out. Genji again drop the Meteor M. Remix in on the prison. The fall through is there. The prison again. Huge. Remix back-to-back great prisons followed up by Cal with the Supernova. Envy sets an even faster time. The series is not over yet.
That's exactly. I mean, they were like, okay, what do we do? Well, we can just set a better time. We can have an even better offense. We can burst everyone through the ults. We can have a perfect use of the Strangling Prison there. Envy are not done. It's not over for them. They looked great. And I mean, there's pressure here too, because you see the damage numbers, you see the elims, and you're like, okay, yeah, Cal is doing so much. And it's true, Cal is doing a lot, but it's also because they're just keeping the pressure so aggressively to where this constant area, this constant damage that comes out from Human Torch in his current state is letting Cal rack up ridiculous numbers.
Also, you know, Remix, kind of controversial at times, you know, when he's had some bad moments, some good moments, but that last stretch can't be anything other than good. 2 back-to-back just back-breaking prisons that kept Envy in it, that set up Cal to pad those damage numbers and go from there. So Remix on the rebound as Envy right now, you know, look to stay alive. And by the way, it would be the Remix reverse sweep if Envy wins this map and wins the next map. We're back.
That's true. That's all, you know, and also if we were like in the DC universe instead of the Marvel, I mean, the back-breaking prison, that's kind of like Batman coded, you know?
Yeah,
it's Bane and Batman coded a little bit. But I do think that Remix has a little bit of the magic that's left over from maybe the Overwatch League days. He's got a bit of magic. He's also been a very solid player across the board in his career, across multiple titles. So Envy making the most of it is Shikigami rolling out in the similar comp again that worked so well in their last offense, keeping the Moon Knight.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the reliability you get here is that you know Krasmang is good for some solid prisons, and Amadian just has to be alive with Khonshu ready to go, and that'll be a team wipe, effectively, in a lot of cases. So, you know, that's kind of what they're banking on here. Not so much what Moon Knight does in neutral, though. I mean, it's not bad. That's some pretty high value getting just that poke in from Amadian here, though, you know, the real value, just the ultimate that's being built.
Shikigami being really aggressive here, trying to use the Moon Knight damage to just force some space. Envy, though, standing strong currently. No one going down just yet. Maybe looking for the option to recontest for Ear Mix. Oh, taking so much damage, getting caught.
Yeah, and with Remix down, now your ability to control the tide of battle really reduced. You don't have the walls up here. You're going to lose out on the early prison build. Krasbang, though, absolutely getting burned alive right now from Cal. In turn, super low. Down he goes. Can't get away. Amadian able to equalize, though, on the Moon Knight. NK, though, room to work with here. This is where Star-Lord can feast as the fight breaks down a little bit. On the hunt is NK and decides it's time for Galactic Legend. No strategist ults for you. Burns him on down into the back line, and they do use the cloak ult, but it's too late. Kind of a misfire by Shikigami.
Yeah, I mean, using the cloak ult there, I mean, ideally you just hold it, stay alive. I mean, Dinks is going to stay up. They're not going to get staggered. But if they just force the Galactic Legend, if they just get burned to win the fight and they hold on to those strategist ult, that's still a pretty decent situation to be in. But now it's equalized. Their downtime. They have to come through this choke, deal with the poke from Cal. Not a good situation.
All right, well, it's getting hot in here. Both torch ults going to be used, but you got to favor the defense here in this situation. Envy using it first. Well, they also pop Fate here. And now it's Shikigami coming in at the way later Fate of Both Worlds. Really nice from Ricky. Good self-control. Shikigami with the opportunity. And now look, the Krasbang. The prison is ready, but Amadian is down. Meteor M strikes. However, they're going to have the prison. They won't have the fall through they had before. Scaragenji, though, says, I'll be the fall through. Krasbang ends up with 2. Post-Meteor M, Shikigami still find a way in.
I mean, even with Amadian going down, the focus fire is so good to deny the hand of Khonshu. They had the Meteor M combo. They have the Strength in Prison. They hit who they need. And Scattergunji even hitting a really good bit of splash damage onto Month there. So Shikigami against all odds. Trade the ults really effectively. They hold on to the hand of Khonshu. And this is actually pretty dangerous for Envy, right? Because you look at the Galactic Legend, but Dinks is about to have the Eternal Bond again. And the hand of Khonshu could theoretically just get one. If they can just find even one, they get to keep this snowball going into a really strong point for the Human Torch.
We'll see how long this attack can go here for Shikigami. With Envy having 3 minutes, they probably need this and a little bit more.
Need help Amadian.
No prison.
They need help Amadian.
Amadian's down. Amadian just getting assassinated from Cal in over the top. Calmang or Krasbang lucky to get away in turn. Galactic Legend gonna be popped here by NK. NK just looking for targets, not really seeing the targets he wanted. And now finds Mello in the back. That's who he wanted the entire time. Gets a pick off away from the strategist ultimates. Now diving back, a little bit of Blaster Barrage, a little bit of extra build. Envy up 2 right now in this fight. And Shikigami, they gotta stay on the convoy and can't.
What a find from Cal. What a find from Cal there. I mean, Amadian plays the off angle, gets isolated from the blast from that secondary fire there from Cal, and then Cal just dives in with a Meteor Impact. Finds that pick. So important there as Cal continues to be a difference maker for this Envy squad, just getting an incredible amount of value here. Still getting first, getting a bit of cap time. I mean, not bad. This can be a hard first point to cap sometimes. So it's just a question of how good does Shikigami, like, what do they change? Do they change anything here? Do they change up their approach? Do they make sure not to get rushed down this time by the Star-Lord composition?
I mean, I think the thing you could change potentially is that while it has worked to begin with, I think I'm not convinced of running the Moon Knight, because I think in terms of actual impact ultimates, I don't think Galactic Legend is that far behind what you're getting with Hand of Khonshu, but I also think before, in the neutral game, before you consider the ultimates, you're getting way more value out of the Star-Lord. So I think it may be time to put Moon Knight away and focus on the Star-Lord, which, by the way, does look to be the case.
We have confirmation in chat. If Envy wins this map, Hash will drop another 10 gifted towards the ZP Bikini Fund.
Fantastic.
All right.
Well, Envy, we have to be impartial. We can't root for them technically.
The battle starts in 5.
No, we're not
No, bro, we're all cheering for him. 100%. Let's go, Blue.
Well, you know, funny enough, they are in blue, and Shikigami is in red. Like, both teams are actually in color right now with just how they chose attack defend. But here we go. Envy on the attack. 3 minutes to go. They don't have to go super far. Shikigami, though, making some changes. Amadian now onto the Star-Lord rather than the Moon Knight. We'll see what difference that makes here. Things getting set up. Games here in the neutral, looking for pickoffs. Krasbang getting really, really low. Isolated and down. I remix revenge. Hashtag that.
I mean, if everyone lives here for Shikigami, there's a chance they have a good recontest. They can't get staggered. They really can't get staggered here. They managed to make it out. So there's a chance for the recontest now. However, Cal's going to set up a lot of damage here on the entry. And it's just going to be tough in general with the walls for Groot.
Remix is getting low, but was able to get away. Envy, if they get this convoy moving, they do. They got 2.5 minutes as Cal picks up another 2. I got news for you. I remix reverse sweep. It's happened before. It might happen again. Envy, so close to putting us to a map 5 right now as Cal cannot be stopped.
I mean, this is just disasters. Another late stagger there. Shikigami just trying to survive on the edges. They're trying to survive in the harsh environments. They're just doing anything to get away from the damage, but they're gonna have to touch. They need to contest.
And Cal, I mean, he can make this recontest super hard. Now you have to walk through the flames. Okay, you're gonna use a cloak ult, but you had to use a cloak ult super early. Narrow, gonna get the later strategist ult here. Envy, working with every advantage in the world. They still have a cloak ult of their own, ready to go. Krasmang, getting close to prison. It's got to be a huge prison to save Shikigami from the situation.
They don't touch! They don't touch!
Oh! Well, Envy forcing the map 5, forcing Hastro to drop more gifted subs here on the Rivals Fight Night channel, and giving everyone watching, all our co-streamers, everyone on every platform, the ultimate in Marvel Rivals action as we go to the ultimate map 5.
No, man, chill. You'll get your cut. Oh, we're live. Hey, everybody. Shikigami, Envy going to a game 5. It's crazy, Avast. No one saw this coming.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely no financial incentives for this to continue for us either. So we can be extremely neutral in our understanding of the match as well. And I mean, honestly, the worst part too for Shikigami is that they get the portal back. They manage to contest. They have some ults available. And you see here, I mean, there's just Krasmang on the high ground and they're backed up a little bit. Oh no, and they don't get the touch.
There's a bit of a stream delay, but I'm sure the Shiki 9s will be coming out.
Yeah.
They have to, you know.
It happens. Sometimes you just forget about that objective you need to touch, or you get excited, you use your ultimate, you just kind of disappear, float in the universe. Avast, we're going to a game 5 though, and what's cool about this is Shikigami gets to choose. So if Envy beats them here, I feel like Envy has truly earned their crown in a ridiculous reverse sweep. But I don't know this remix lore. Can you guys tell me about the reverse sweep of the past?
Mostly,
you want to set it up?
Yeah, I mean, mostly it's just current housemates like Space dropping the hashtag remix reverse sweep, and also hydration at the same time. Hydration is like both equal parts like hating on remix and supporting remix. But when it looked like the reverse sweep was going to be a thing, you know, the old remix crew, former teammates and friends came in. Hashtag remix reverse sweep. Oh,
there it is.
subs.
As you can see by Puckett's pointing that Hastro did give the 10 subs. So we're getting inching closer.
I don't know if ZP noticed. He was out for a moment. ZP, give her a kiss. Give her a kiss. Reset.
Okay, I'll just move it forward.
Let's go back to the games, I'm told. All right, we've got a game 5 loaded up between Shikigami and Envy. Shout out to my man, Mike, much love, aka Hastro in the building, aka one of the OGs of esports. He is invested in his squad. Kaluj coming over from Sentinels after 7-0ing 100 Thieves. He joins up with the boys in blue. It was a little messy, but they got us here. We're going to a game 5.
You know, Vest, as we take a look here, I mean, the highlights, it's super interesting how Envy has adapted over the course of the series. And I do feel like, you know, going back to Puckett wondering who's the better Human Torch. I think beginning of the series, absolutely Melophobia, no question. But Cal, I almost feel like has leveled up over the course of the series because the stuff coming from Cal here on Symbiotic Surface was fantastic. And also, I feel like Remix, who I think was getting out-grooted in the beginning, also really has found his footing as the series has gone on.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to judge Cal early because they weren't even playing it, right? They just didn't play the Human Torch. And since then, they've been playing it a lot. Cal showing their flexibility. I mean, Cal plays. What's Cal not play? Vanguard, Strategist, every duelist that they need to put him on. I mean, it's just definitely a tons and tons of value for them. And for Shikigami, they've been so close. And I think it's kind of this double-edged sword they're working with where they're really willing to be experimental in terms of like, okay, let's remove these strategists. Let's play an interesting comp. Let's try something a little different. And you do see them. You do see it work. You see it work sometimes, and sometimes you don't see it work. And this is a moment where, you know, If a Madian doesn't go down, doesn't get caught, it's disastrous. It's like, okay, if we don't C9 there, maybe something happens. That's not a composition issue, to be fair, but there are these moments here for Shikigami where it's like, oh, they're so close to figuring out, but it's also so cool what they're doing that's a little bit different than some of the other teams.
I'm already cringing just thinking about how many Human Torches are going to be in my lobbies the next week. You are all welcome, by the way. Go ahead and thank Mello. Thank my guy Cal for teaching us how to just abuse the folks on the ground. These torches are too good. ZP, do you ban it going into a game 5?
Do you ban it? I
You
think
feel
Mel's too
even?
good.
It looks like an even match statistically, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I don't think you ban the torch. I do think you wonder if you're Shikigami, if you ban the Luna again, where I need to go back, but did they ban Luna in every map aside from the one we just played? They definitely banned Luna earlier, and I just wonder if
of
that...
the previous series, and I'm pretty sure we saw her at least 2, if not 3 of the previous games.
We have the graphic,
Yeah.
so when we
need
get
to
to
look at the graphic and
bans,
see where it's
we
at.
have the graphic. The graphic will tell us. The graphic
One.
knows all.
Okay.
She was protected.
So they've only banned it. Shikigami's only banned it once. It's really typically been,
Yeah, it's been
actually
Envy
both
that was
sides.
banning it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
bans.
I'm just thinking about different factors from the beginning to now where, bans have shifted a little bit. If you're Shikigami, you want to try and bring things all the way back to where, a happy place back in the map 1 era. Where, by the way, map 1 and map 2, which they both won, Luna was banned in both of those games. One time by Envy, time by Shikigami. So it is kind of interesting the impact of some of the strategist ults here where maybe you just prioritize the Luna ban a little bit earlier and, really, it may be the play.
More importantly, we are now 9,834 subs away from the bikini stream from Tempo ZP. Was that a game 4? Do we need to take a break? Can we go straight into it, Solomon?
We're going straight in.
Yes!
We only break
Okay.
after map 3.
Well, good. I didn't want to let the players take a break because they're whining in the Discord. I was like, nah, you guys sit down. You play your games. We have folks who have stayed up very late. They started their watch parties at the beginning of the EU stream. That was so many moons ago, ZP. Nearly 7 of them. We are approaching the midnight hour, and we're going to Hall of Dejalia. Let's talk comps have asked, what are we seeing out here? Is Loki going to make it into the map?
Well, that's up to Shikigami, honestly, if they want to ban it or not. Because Envy typically they love running Loki. So do most teams, to be fair. So it's kind of just a question of Shikigami. Do they allow it through? Otherwise, probably going to see a lot more Groot. Probably going to see more Magneto, maybe even Strange, potentially Emma Frost. But it's kind of just a question of what Shikigami wants to allow through strategist-wise, because they've typically been removing the majority of the strategists from the board in the ban protect phase.
I was just looking as well. So the last 2 games, Envy's won, right? So the one thing that's consistent is all 3 bans. They're getting rid of the Wolverine, the Hela, and of course the Hulk, which is going to kind of nullify the Namor. So they're going all DPS bans or duelist bans here, except for that Hulk, which is kind of a throwaway towards the end. I don't know what you're gonna do here if you're Shikigami. Are you shook at this point, ZP? We don't see a whole lot of reverse sweeps in esports. When it happens, it tends to be a mental breakdown.
It's not good. You don't like the impending doom of we nearly had it, especially when you nearly had it on a map where you decide last minute we're gonna run the Jeff Captain America. But I do think it's interesting. We got confirmation, by the way, that it was Envy that protected Luna in maps 3 and 4. So, there is a world here where I do wonder if you shift up the bans a little bit and you risk the Loki coming to play, but in return, you get rid of the Luna at the beginning instead, just because, whether it be the strategist comfort level for Envy or not, they've been winning with Luna, they've been losing when they don't have it. I think if you're Shikigami, you might want to alter the draft strategy just a teensy little bit as we head into our 5th and final map.
That's right, and our players refuse to play until we get 26 more followers on our Twitch channel. That is twitch.tv/rivalsfightnight, as we try to let Hex hit his bonus of 6,800 followers on the channel. Here we go. Let's get serious. Bans and protect should be in. If they're not, ZP, crack the whip. I will go and FaceTime Tasmo personally. I'll take care of the Envy boys. You get on Shikigami.
Works for me. That's fine. Although, I could also handle Tasmo, and I've known Tasmo for a long time. Either way, I think we got covered on the Envy side. But
I think you would win in a one-on-one versus Tasmo. Avast, you agree? Who are you taking?
I mean,
20 on ZP?
he doesn't have the aggression necessary. I think he's a little too cuddly. He's a little too cuddly. I think.
Little Winnie the Pooh style.
He'd maybe wrap him
Tigger in
up. He'd wrap him up because he's tall, and he'd kind of constrict him like a snake. If anything, like I could see that going on a bit more than perhaps like pure martial artistry.
So ZP would hug him. Is the breakdown of the fight.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, what? I mean, do you say that to a giant boa constrictor? It's like, oh, it's hugging me. Like, no, it's crushing you. Like, it's two different things. Like, so I think it's two very different feelings there.
Yeah, if you get crushed to death by ZP, we got issues, family. All right, ZP is the nicest, gentlest human being. He would never crush you with his hug. Feel free to approach him, touch his hands, touch his face at events. He never gets sick. And never
talking like he's like Daenerys, like he's Khaleesi. I don't know why you're talking like, what is this? He's like, they're gonna come up and worship him.
No, I just feel like I'm gonna get the plague now. Like, I have to wear just a full bodysuit to events, courtesy of Chris Puckett. And why? Because the players aren't ready yet. Come on, it's map 5. Let's get this going.
It's Shikigami, to be fair. It's Shikigami. That's who you can direct your ire to, okay? It's all Shikigami currently. Envy's
How many matches did you have to play Shikigami? How many?
Oh, wait.
We only asked of 1. 5 maps. Let's get to it.
Also,
this is a whole lot of the same stuff. If you were playing slots, you would be winning.
Yep,
Loki band.
Classic Shikigami band. That's an El Clasico. It's a question
Deuces,
for Envy, which
Wolverine.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, I mean, I think Envy will probably, if anything, Envy feels a lot less pressured right now with how the momentum's been than Shikigami.
They protect
right?
Luna.
Like, yeah, they're just gonna try to keep it similar. I think it's up to Shikigami to try to make something different happen.
Are you guys ready? Oh, Hella gets locked in. Okay, so that was normally the MV second ban. So Shikigami risking a Groot is kind of the scenario here.
I like the Star-Lord ban. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think the Star-Lord ban, you stop and think about it, they didn't really want to run the Star-Lord. They would prefer to run the Moon Knight, and it didn't work out well for them. And eventually they bend the knee and go, I guess we'll run the Star-Lord. But now with the Star-Lord ban, they don't have to.
Okay, Envy, your turn. They say we are not going to allow Mello to pummel us anymore, trying to take it to the ground. There was a storm in the mix a little bit earlier in the day. Don't know if we're going to see it in this final domination. Let's get to it. Protect time.
Yeah, I like also, because I feel like for a Madian, they've been a pretty high impact player, but definitely some of the flexes for them, like going on to Moon Knight, things like that, haven't been as high impact as maybe they wanted, while Hella for them, especially earlier in the series, was really strong. So this might be a bit better for Shikigami. Magneto protected, which makes a lot of sense here because you can just make sure to keep Mag in the field here, potentially if you ever want to play like a triple Vanguard, and just in general have that on board for Envy.
I would have loved if they... Yeah, if they didn't protect Groot, I would have loved the Groot ban from Envy as a surprise, but...
Yeah, I don't think Shikigami will ever not protect Groot, right? When you have Krasming on your team, I just don't think... And this is actually really... I like the Psylocke ban as well, because with Star-Lord and Psylocke ban, that's going to force Envy to be like, okay, like, you probably play a Hela, because you know Cal can play a lot of Hela, maybe even a triple Vanguard, but you don't really get that value from the Emma Frost quite as much as you did if they ever do bring out that triple Vanguard either.
Here we go, fam.
Right here
We're
is to
locked
make
in.
all the difference.
Same stuff. The big difference, you didn't get to ban Hella. Envy gonna have to deal with one of the best in North America. We got ZP, we got Avast, we have a game 5 in North America. No 100 Thieves. They were taken down by Shikigami last week. Envy has powered through Shroud X. Now can they complete the reverse sweep? Hall of Dajalia. This is, of course, Shikigami's pick. Take it away, Z.
Here we are, Vast, the ultimate map here at Rivals Fight Night. It is map 5 in the money match. One team will walk away $1,000 and the defending slot next week. The other team walking away with nothing. And also, should Envy win, the second iRemix reverse sweep on record here in Marvel Rivals.
Shikigami. Now we've been talking about the Envy potential. Envy reverse sweep, but also this is the chance for Shikigami to stop their reverse sweep because
wait.
You just
they're doing the tech observers. Oh no, I thought they're gonna do the tech where you just send out the penny bombs at the very beginning and then
no. Because also that only works if you're that works if you're on the defense.
Yeah,
Typically do it if you're on the offense.
Yeah, sorry, I thought they were defense. So no.
That would be crazy if there was the penny tech from the offense.
Yeah,
that would be pretty insane to have the mortar strike. But no, I don't think that was gonna happen. And look at this, Melophobia actually, they put a Madian onto the Hela and they're putting Melophobia onto the Moon Knight. So Shikigami really experimenting a lot with the Moon Knight with these new buffs that have come through.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't have expected Melophobia to be on the Moon Knight, but I guess it's they value the Moon Knight heavily, and in this case, you're not going to put Melophobia on the Hela when a Madian is available, so that does check out. Neutral game, though, and this is where you really have to look to the Hela to see if the Hela can make the difference here at the beginning. Cluj actually getting pummeled, getting thrown back a little bit. Now the pressure onto Nero in turn. Envy having to take a few steps back. iRemix may be caught. iRemix real low right now, but able to stabilize, but it comes at a cost. Month is down as Madian, gets on the Nero at the same time. Surgical from Shikigami.
And this is really the value of that Moon Knight here for Melophobia, because what they really were able to do is keep the pressure on the backline. Typically, the strategists are going to play split, maybe one of the duelists onto the high ground there, and by using the onks continuously, all that damage, especially with the increased projectile speed for Moon Knight, you put a lot of damage onto this backline, who's a little bit squishier. Is worried about just getting insta comboed, especially with some damage from a Madian.
Okay, so Shikigami, they get through one of the hardest cap points in the game with ease, and no small part, a Madian. Again, good damage here on the Hela. How will Envy respond? And Envy's no slouch on Hela themselves. Now the Cow taking the mantle.
You hear a little bit of poking going through, but Shikigami still holding on to a lot of fight. That crazy thing has to be very careful for Krasbang. He's gonna live.
Prison v prison.
Getting up. Yeah, it's 2 prisons up.
Prison out first from Krasbang, and here comes Khonshu right on top, right on time. 2 down immediately, and if you're Envy, you might want to let this one go and play for last contest. They should get 1 more before they get to the end of second.
And they are going to have 6 ults for Envy. So there are going to be ults available for Envy to recontest. There was 2 used, the combo used for Shikigami. So Shikigami, they're going to have to play this really well. Either get a pick in the neutral, ideally bleed a bunch of ults and be able to recontest with yours without losing anyone. A lot of pressure into Shikigami to survive the onslaught.
Here we go. Rocket dropping the CYA. Envy back over to Kaluj.
Ooh, broke the meteor.
Slam dunk. And yeah, the meteor just getting destroyed. However, the same note, Cal able to land the pick off on the Krasbang. However, the BRB brings back the fray. Shikigami still at a full 6. Madian here in the back. Goddess of Death on deck. Envy, though, starting to invest. Invisible boundary dropped. Krasbang over and in. Remix at the same time was looking for the strangling prison. They end up getting Ricky. So Envy getting enough done here. The Khonshu, though, getting dropped here from NK, and it's enough to find Krasbang.
I mean, Ricky has to feel so sad. That was a solo strangling prison along with just some onk damage there from NK, just to immediately eliminate Ricky. And Envy with this swap here to the Moon Knight. I mean, it's definitely both teams kind of valuing just this burst damage here. With Moon Knight being so much more mobile, too, you can move around the flanks, and the hand of Khonshu just so powerful, especially when combined with strangling prison. So now Shikigami coming back in, gonna have the hand of Khonshu, about to have the prison combo. They're about to have, what did you call it again, ZP? I forgot the name of it.
The Khonshu's prison.
The Khonshu's prison. The Khonshu's prison coming on up here. So for Envy, they need to make sure to try to face split, because realistically, you won't survive. Even with strategy ults, you just need to save your bulwarks, you need to save the bubbles, you need to have as much mitigation as possible, and just try to get out.
Krasbang is telegraphing this so hard right now. You just see Krasbang walking forward. You know what's on his mind. The prison comes on out. And Khonshu dropped right after. Meteor M even thrown into the mix, and they get 2 right away with it. Shikigami, more than enough. Should be 0.2 heading their way. Maybe Envy is able to portal in time, but I'm not sure there's enough clearance.
And I mean, this is just it's a hard comp matchup, because essentially both teams are just consistently playing to hit the combo. Like, everyone's just playing to get a strangling prison to drop the graviton, essentially. To take like, that's all they're looking for here. So now Envy still looking to hold here on second. They're going to have a prison. They're going to have the meteor rims. They have a combo. Not quite with the hand of Khonshu just yet. Shikigami really just only holding on to the CYA.
Also, I mean, Remix may just let fly if Remix sees the right opportunity. They have a meteor M to go with it. And Cal gets caught. A Madian taking the Hela v Hela. Envy already down 1. Do you invest ults right here and now to solidify? You look here, the Remix looking for the prison opportunity. Kaluj going to be first to strike. Meteor M off here to the left. It's enough. Krasbang goes down. Kaluj finds the way.
That's all they needed. I mean, mitigates the damage there, even with down 1. Got rid of the CYA as well, and that's a pretty good trade. I mean, just using Meteor M, the CYA, that's not a bad trade. Get the hold here on the choke, which is really strong, especially when you hold onto the Groot. You can put up the walls, you're able to get a lot of damage and funnel them to your Iron Lad walls. So Shikigami just looking to, once again, guess what they're waiting for? Both teams here. They're waiting for combos. Yep. Let's watch for the combos.
Khonshu has just become the biggest prison warden here in Marvel Rivals. Remix, first one to set things up. Is Remix gonna be able to find it? And in the neutral, Mello just going down. No prison required, but BRB keep Shikigami in the fight. The combo still on deck right now for Envy. A waiting game right now for both teams, really, as Melphobia nearly up there himself. And Kalu's nearly built another Meteor M of S. This has been ridiculous damage in for Kalu so far. Shikagami, though, Meteor M of his own. Drops it over. Not going to get anything from it here just yet. Invisible boundary now down from Envy. This might be the time. Here comes the hand of Kanju. Here comes the prison. And it's big, way bigger for NK. Into the back. Ends up with 2. Still trade outs on both sides. Shikigami, they're still investing.
I mean, Shikigami think they can still win this. I mean, they do have the CYA. They have the extra bonus health. They have the damage. They're going to walk on forward. They're going to chase. So they finally have conquered this choke a bit. They got rid of the combos here, too. They hold on to the Goddess of Death. So now Shikigami, their answer is, okay, we can't lose anyone to the Meteor M. Maybe we set Amadian up in a very aggressive fight. Just remove Cal, set up the Goddess of Death. They have some options to try to just, like, control the flanks here. But they have to be worried about this Meteor M that could burn this Strategist ult.
Cal getting pressured by Madian. It was going back and forth the other way, but Madian able to get some heals, push Cal back. Envy looking to Kaluj. Can Kaluj do it one more time? The Meteor M, good to go. Right now, getting good damage here onto the back, looking for Madian on the other side. Kaluj right now just, using the terrain to his advantage, getting out of line of sight, but still touching the payload. But here we go, Meteor M sees the time is now, looking.
Oh no!
It hits the ceiling! But can they recover? Still gets Melphobia anyways, right after.
And also look at Amadian. There's like, my friends, come back. Everyone come back. Like, no one's here. They're going to commit more. I mean, they're going to commit the combo here as well. So Envy wanting to just continue into this fight. I mean, they're definitely going to clean up here, but that's big ults off the field here. Shikigami going to be holding on to their all critical. The what is it? The prison of Kanchu?
Prison of Kanchu. Kanchu's prison,
Kanchu's prison. Whichever one you may choose, the more formal method. I'm going for the more formal method. There for the prison of Kanchu.
It's a prison ordained by Kanchu as Dinks gets dinked by Cal in turn. That's going to delay things. Only a minute left, or actually less than that now, 40 seconds. So really just one more push for Shikigami, but they do have some powerful tools heading on in, and we just got to get the Krasman cam. That's all I want to see right now.
Yeah, I mean, so much pressure here is going to be watching for Krasman just to hit the Strangling Prison to make sure they get the value. Astral Flock already used for Cal, so now Cal has to back up. They know he's low too. They can chase them out.
Krasman moving on forward. Cal gonna drop the Goddess of Death. Meanwhile, Krasman, can you find the way here for Shikigami? The self-CC. Hello. Pillar cam.
Get put into timeout.
Prison was dropped, and they had a Kanchu right after. They only get one. They only get one.
Melphobia too.
Kaluj, Meteor M in response. Madian, though, coming alive. Finds Cal in turn. Now it's getting scrappy on both sides. Kaluj, super low. Gets healed up just in the nick of time as Nero comes on in. Dancing to the beach. Scatter Genji. Meteor M not getting anything. The Luna ult just in the nick of time here for Nero. Envy. We are in overtime. It's on Shikigami to make something happen. And there's Remix dropping the prison into the back. The follow through, though, is not there. Ricky dancing his way over here for Shikigami now. Is Shikigami back to full strength? This Melphobia ends up with 2.
Oh, and the portal. Krasman's made it on back too, and that means everyone's here. They're on the point. They're getting late staggers. No one Vimini up, and they're in the OT spawns here as well with no ult. Maybe NK can get the head of Contra, but they're going to have to touch. They need to touch the point.
Can they touch a point is the question, and no, not even Captain America can get there in the nick of time, and if he did, saw Kanchu coming on down. So Shikigami, they burn their entire time bank of Ast, but they do get there in the end.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Sorry, I had to go close my door.
I thought that was just
getting very loud.
I thought that was a dramatic pause or waiting for Puckett to, interject. But no, you just had to close the door.
No, not a dramatic pause.
People are probably sleeping in the house. I get it.
Yeah, people, everyone, the problem with both the joy and the sadness of esports is that you're working sometimes some off hours. And I think this is just one of those moments where, we've heard so much about the players too, especially because we have a lot of young players in Marvel Rivals where they're getting mom aggro. Classic mom aggro for a lot of these teenage players where their parents are like, hey, shut up. It's like midnight. We gotta go to work.
Hey, you, shut up. Well, the stage is set. Shikigami, they get to the end, but it takes the entire time bank. Envy, we now get to see their attack as they look to complete the Remix reverse sweep here on Rivals Fight Night for $1,000. First major event here on Season 2. It has been a blast. We're heading to the conclusion. and we'll see just how explosive it is. The doors are opening, Avast. Hey, Cluj, he's setting up for the portal.
By the way, shout out to Saipe. We have the Virtus Pro champion in the chat, not going to sleep. It is well past midnight on the East Coast soon. Way over that 6 hours, 7 hours where he's at. I give up. Let's go to the portal. It's finally done, Cluj.
Cluj, portal is set. A little bit of a different approach here so far. The Hellas could set the tail of the battle here in the neutral, as they often do. Root walls up. Both teams looking for the all-important first pick, as we see Cal right now. Off angle, lands a Soul Drainer, looking for the Hella pick, not quite able to finish it, but does claim the high ground in turn. Can Cal do a little bit more, and we'll get forced back in turn by Madian. The Hellas have each other's number right now. They're calling, and no one's blocking.
I mean, Envy just trying to pressure these flanks right now. Is Shikigami trying to make their way in? Pretty equivalent on the hand of Khonshu's right now. As Cluj flanking around, trying to find somewhere with the Maelstrom, and it opens up the space for Madian to go down.
Yeah, Cal ends up getting there from the Hella v Hella remix. Over and in on the Strangling Prison. Gets one pick from it. Envy now up to Khonshu, being dropped here by NK. And Envy getting the picks they need to get this going. However, Ricky's gonna use Fate of Both Worlds. Shikigami, they feel they can delay here, and you know why. Krasbang, close to the Strangling Prison. Melophobia, real close. They got the portal coming out in Shikigami. Round 2 here on the first point. Strangling Prison drops, so is the Khonshu Prison, or Hand of Khonshu rather, as Krasbang ends up with 2 right after. The combo succeeds, and Envy's gonna get forced back.
I mean, that's the Khonshu's Prison. To be fair, that is your term, ZP. That is your term. And really, really well played from Ricky. Ricky and Krasbang just staying alive, using the walls at LOS, and dropping that late Fate of Both Worlds, even though they were down several players, knowing they can make it back. They can set up that combo there for Krasbang. And now Envy, they have to recontest here. Sure, they're going to have ults, but it's always terrible to have to recontest into this particular point. We have the Hall of Jalia just... This first point is so tough because of the defender's advantage.
It's not Cluj. He's gotten big Eye of Agamotto's anytime he's been in the situation with be Envy or with Sentinels in the past. Kalush, can you do it one more time? Hits 2. Melophobia and Krasbang hit by the Eye of Agamotto. The fall through, though, is not there. Scatter Genji comes on in. Meteor M was looking for a clean pickoff. Doesn't happen. Invisible Boundary out. Cal going to the skies. Gods of Death ready to go. The Khonshu Prison on deck here for Envy if they need it. And iRemix right now hanging on in. Cal is more than enough to get this convoy moving.
So first point got in, but I think if you're Shikigami, you're still relatively happy because A, you got more time off the board, which is always great, and B, ults used from Envy. Eye of Agamotto, they use the Invisible Boundary, they use the Goddess of Death. That's 3 ults burned for that. Now they have to worry about the combo here, but for Shikigami, they have some options. They have some options in terms of how they want to set this up. They do have that CYA, so they can try to go aggressively first, maybe try to find one. Now it's just a question of, okay, what are we going to do?
The lull before the storm currently in place. Kaluj in the front line. The real threat, though, iRemix with the Prison. You got to keep your eyes on iRemix during here. Shikigami, though, they want a little bit of breathing room. They drop the CYA immediately here at the Rocket Raccoon. Now, take a look here. NK just waiting for Remix. Meanwhile, Krasbang going to drop the Prison first, and Melophobia bringing the Thunder right on top.
I mean, well played from Shikigami because they stall, they poke, then they're trying to drop the CYA, keep the fight going, and then they're just watching NK the whole time. Now, they did have to commit 3 ults for this fight, right? So this is Envy's chance to open it up. They know they have the ult advantage. Some early poke coming on out. Don't want to lose anyone to the Moon Knight spam. That's always the worst feeling in the world when you're walking out of spawn, is when you lose someone to the Moon Knight spam. And it's just a question for Shikigami now of like, okay, what do you do knowing that you're down to this ult advantage? Do you try to make a play on the flank? Do you just try to eat it?
Oh, that's movement tech, but Cluj getting forward here and then, because now you not only have to worry about Remix, who drops the Strangling Prison, NK falls on top, Hand of Khonshu picks up 2, aided by the Roots. 3 down, and the combo once again makes its mark.
It's a classic. Now, I mean, they got the ults out. They get to walk back into this fight, coming up with 4 ults soon for Shikigami. So this is the real fight, right? It's like, okay, we've traded the combos, classic. Okay, we've used our combo, you used your combo. Now the real fight begins, knowing that the insta-win buttons are down. I mean, it looks like they're not even going to bother to contest, potentially. It looks like they might just hold it. No, they're going to go for it now. Oh, my gosh. 0.18 meters.
Almost like losing Madian immediately. Quick pick off here from Envy. Kaluj diving on back. Eye of Agamotto just onto the Moon Knight, but hey, when you got to be sure, gets rid of him. Envy up to Krasbang. able to get a little bit of bite of the apple. Gets on the count.
What a freeze!
The freeze isn't bad. Shikagami now. Meteor M. Can Shikigami save it? Gets Kaluge. Shikigami might have a chance of holding this here. They're powered up here. The CYA keeping them nice and healthy. Amadian dropping the Goddess of Death here. A little bit of cleanup, and Envy now down with only a minute left for second.
Honestly, probably not necessary to use that Goddess of Death. There was just like, what, one player alive at that point? Like, so maybe a little bit of a crack pop there, but great for Shikigami to just last second contest. An incredibly good freeze from Ricky too. Deny the value from Collusion in the backline. Just make sure they can just sustain here on the point. And Scatter Genji, who just continued to be a pillar for Shikigami, just getting that pick, getting the good bulwarks. And they have their combo, ZP, so they have the insta-win button if they want.
Shikigami holding all the cards. Only 1 minute left in the match here for Envy to keep this thing going, to dethrone the champions for Shikigami. $1,000 on the line as Hellas playing footsie with each other on the side. Cal dropping a long-range Goddess of Death. NK, though, connecting here with the hand of Kanju, picks up 2. However, Shikigami ends up with one of their own. The BRB bringing one back, but Envy, this might be enough here for the second point. All momentum in their favor.
And Cal just up on this high ground too. The Goddess of Death putting so much pressure on them from the back line. They thought they had it before the Goddess of Death, but it was a better aggression from Envy. They walk on forward off of Cal just pressuring, and they keep their hopes alive here. Further reverse sweep, the hashtag iRemix reverse sweep here. Not much on the board for either team, and Ricky down.
Yeah, Ricky getting caught. Envy now getting some really beneficial staggers. A minute 30 left, but you gotta like how they've entered into point 3. Narrow has the Luna ult ready to go. In a moment's notice, strategist ult situation pretty good here for Envy. Can they keep it ongoing? Scatter Genji, though, would love to shut down with the Meteor nearly on. Kaluge, though, gets a pick on the Mellow. The neutral game for Envy when they need it most has been phenomenal. Scatter Genji ends up going down. And off the CYA, Envy picking up pick after pick. This is ridiculous of Ast.
Uh-oh, Dinks has to make sure not to get caught late. Dinks has to survive. You really don't want to get staggered late here. Okay, good news. No one's going down just late, unless they're going to do spam. No, they're not. Okay, great. So they got the CYA out. Shikigami, I think, can be relatively happy with that trade. The biggest issue here, again, is you don't want to get caught in the cycle here where you're just getting comboed.
Well, guess what? They may be getting comboed. NK has the hand of Kanchu, good to go. Remix, 9% away. If the combo lands successfully, Envy will be extending this to extra rounds. And Envy, they have a really good disengage from the CYA. This is fine. 30 seconds left to go. Could be the final fight here in Rivals Fight Night number 7. Here we go.
Now watch the split here. Look at the split here, ZP. Shikigami, the split here is so important for both these teams to try to not get caught by the combos. Cal trying to force the flank. So much pressure on Cal.
Cal goes down. Envy, do you have any other response here in turn? Kaluge, can you be the hero once more? With the Meteor M. Drops on the payload. Doesn't get what he's looking for. Scour Genji. Bigger Meteor M, perhaps. No. Remix, though, goes down. The combo isn't going to come into play here. Envy having to drop Fate of both worlds. Everything. NK just has to go for the Rock Honshu here. What's it going to do? Drops it here near the payload. Ends up with 1, but it may not be enough. Shikigami has nearly held off Envy. They will be your champions once more. Holding everything back. Envy coming close, but it's no iRemix reverse sweep this time as Shikigami, you're back-to-back champions.
Did we just choke an iRemix reverse sweep?
We did.
It was close.
Well, not so much we, but I will say, I mean, we were just here for along for the ride. In that regard, is Shikigami looking great. I mean, this team continues to impress. The split was really good. The pressure on the flank so important too, to deny the flank from Cal. Sure, the BRB's up, but that means you don't have a BRB later in the fight. That means you don't have that pressure from Cal earlier in that fight. And Shikigami continuing to look extremely versatile.
Back-to-back champions, the 2-time NA champs, Days, Amadian, Crazemang, Scatter, Genji, Dinks, and Ricky getting it done. And they do it with all kinds of different comps. This has been fun to watch these guys. I did not think this series was going to go as long as it did. Props to Envy for sticking in it. You nearly completed that final point. We almost went into OT, but I'm honestly glad we didn't. Shikigami wearing the crown right now, and we get to see who comes up to challenge him. 100 Thieves next, have asked. Sentinels, what do they got up their sleeves? We got a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential contenders on the board, especially with, what Sentinel's going to look like when they're looking to replacement. 100 Thieves obviously been pretty consistent. So Shikigami, I mean, they just haven't had their chance, I feel, to be like on the big stage outside of here for Rivals Fight Night. So I do think this is like kind of their proving ground of like, oh, we should be looking out for them as you also look at the MRI and the MRC in the future.
Big shout out to everyone from Europe who is tuning in to see how we play in NA. Saipe saying Groot and Moon Knight, very NA of them. ZP, I'm expecting our meta to evolve hopefully by the time we get back here next Thursday. For now, though, let's say goodbye to maybe the old meta. Crazemang dropping a ridiculous 29,000 once again, leads the lobby. On the other side, I should say, Kalush Remix, and then NK leads the lobby with 35k on that Moon Knight.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was about as close as it gets for a final map, and the stats absolutely reflecting that. I mean, both teams were throwing haymakers left and right. I mean, it was Groot combos also with Moon Knight for a lot of it, but you know, think about the neutral and how things were going there too. You can't say enough about things that Amadian was able to do for Shikigami, or Melophobia, especially earlier in the series on Human Torch, where, you know, Envy got a rude awakening all the way back on map 1, right? So just a lot of cool storylines here across both teams, but you know, in the end, there's only one winner, and today it was Shikigami.
Avast, NA fraud region. Is that fair? Is that a real comment?
I think the thing right now is that we're just seeing this split in metas early, which happens when we have all these regional plays taking place, a patch just dropped. We're going to see what the one true meta may be, because sometimes we do all go towards one, which is sort of what happened as we got further on to season 1. Even though EU still loved to just use the Venom a little more, it was still pretty consistently the same meta across the board. It's just kind of a question of where the meta supremacy is going to end up. You know, is it going to be in Rome? Is it going to be in Constantinople? Like, you know, where's the split? Where's the divide going to happen? It just depends.
I do got to say, it's pretty cool that our two champs were returning champs and they defend the belt. ZP, Virtus Pro, and Shikigami closing out season 1 as the champions. They start season 2 as the champions. As we reflect on this matchup, though, you got to have an MVP picked out by now, right, ZP? Who'd you put it down as?
You know what? It's a hard choice given the impact of Crazmang, but for me, it had to be Melophobia, where you think about how this series started out, it was Torch just absolutely crushing Envy, and they had to play from catch-up ever since. And look, there were points, especially back in the first map, where Melophobia looked like the cleanest Human Torch we have seen so far, really letting people know the true power of this hero in the new meta.
I think when you look at Melophobia, too, it's not just that they looked really good on the Torch. They showed a lot of flexibility here. I mean, the Moon Knight was pretty crucial to their win for this final map for Hall of Dajalia, on top of just their Torch play. And, you know, they also did some Jeff gameplay. They did a little bit of Jeff gameplay. I don't know if that's necessarily the highlight for them, even though teams were saying, like, oh, the cap Jeff, like, it's low-key, it's fire, like, you don't get it. But, and it's possible. I mean, like, we've heard a lot of rumors about it, but I do think overall the Torch gameplay, the Moon Knight, Melophobia looked really good across the roles that required him to be on.
Yeah, stay off of Jet until you work on your ultimates, buddy. To be fair, it's kind of hard to train without just spamming a lot of Jeff games. Speaking of spamming, the Moon Knight, a highlight for me. But the most important thing is Melophobia means fear of music. Thank you, Hexagrams, our producer, who went onto Google, typed that one in, and let us all know. Every day we learn. We get smarter here on Rivals Fight Night. Shout out to Melophobia, tonight's MVP. What does he get for earning MVP? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
No, the team gets $1,000, and that is all. Shout out to everyone for playing. Shout out to everyone for tuning in. And reminder, if you have missed any of the action, we are everywhere. We have taken over the TikToks. We're on the YouTubes. We're here on Twitch, Kick, wherever you want to find our content. You can find it live on Thursdays. We get started at 4 p.m. Eastern. As you saw, the EU Challengers match was a 5-game series. If you missed it, go to our YouTube channel, Rivals Fight Night. We'll have that clip for you there. Virtus Pro, though, the best team in the game, if you ask me, from our first impression from Season 2. Without a doubt, the champs. Avast, ZP, final thoughts.
You know,
I'm just looking forward to the Z-Kini. The Z-Bikini, the Z2 piece.
The Z-Kini, we're on a
you know what? We'll see if chat can make it happen. A lot of subs to go for that illustrious goal, but for me, I was just excited to see the first look at things here in Season 2. I think things are going to evolve a whole lot, and look, you want to see more of this action? Guess what? Mark your calendar. Every Thursday, we're here, Rivals Fight Night, same time, new teams, and let me tell you, I think next week is going to be ridiculous with some of the teams that are on deck. You won't want to miss it.
He makes the matches, so he's got insider knowledge. By the way, we are only 934 subs away from the Z-Kini. We will see
That
you
seems
all
a
soon.
little
Thanks for
low.
tuning in to Rivals Fight Night. Yes, just 934 more. That's all we need. We'll see you next week.